theyeshiva.net.
Okay, today we'll learn the Taisrusin on Daf Chafalaf Amid Beis. On the top, Al Shnei Chadashim Mechalel L'Nes HaShabbos. The Mishnah said that even though witnesses came every single month to testify when they observed the new moon and that they observed the new moon, there's only 2 months out of the year that we allowed the witnesses to violate Shabbos in order to arrive to Bezdin and testify. And that's Nisan and Tishrei. When the Beis HaMikdash stood, they could violate Shabbos every month. Why? Mipnei Takanas HaKarban, because there had to be brought a carbon of Rosh Chodesh, and we want the carbon should be brought on time. But the other months, and all the months have a carbon Rosh Chodesh. But after the Churban Beis HaMikdash, only Nisan and Tishrei, because that's the holiday, the month when you establish the Yom Tovim, the holidays, whether it's Pesach or Shavuos, which depends on Pesach, Severis Eimer, and Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. And therefore, over there, we're makpid, we're meticulous that what? That it should be on time, and therefore the Eidos could be Mechalel Shabbos. Zok Taisvus. Pirush HaKuntras. Rashi explains in the Mishnah, Rashi says you have to understand that min ha-Torah, you're allowed to violate all the Shabbosim. Avo Rabbanan Asru, after the Churban Beis HaMikdash, it was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, as we see in the Gemarah, who forbade the witnesses to be Mechalel Shabbos for the other months. Why? Because since the other months, the Yomim Tovim are not dependent on Rosh Chodesh. Tammuz, Av, Elul, Cheshvan, Kislev, Teves, Shvat, Adar. The Yomim Tovim are not totally. In other words, there's no holiday in that month. So we don't care so much if it's going to be 29 days or it's going to be 30 days. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? The worst thing that's going to happen is that Tesvav Cheshvan is really supposed to be Tazayin Cheshvan. Or the other way, Tazayin Cheshvan is supposed to be Tesvav Cheshvan. Okay. So what? Doesn't make any difference in halacha. What's the difference if you're putting on tefillin, Tesvav or Tazayin? If Tesvav is Sunday or it's Shabbos? Right? It doesn't have that level of consequence. That's what Rashi says. Nisan and Tishrei, yes, these are Yom Tovim. When it's Pesach, a lot of halachas about that, and halachas min ha-Torah. So you can be Mechalel Shabbos. Vrek Tosfos v'Kashi. The Gemarah Tanya, the Gemarah here in the Sugya says, Minayin shemechalel L'Nes HaShabbos. How do we know you're allowed to be Mechalel Shabbos in order to say that you saw the moon? It's a big chiddush. Chachamim can't just come and push off on Isra of Chilul Shabbos. The answer is Talmud Loimar Eilem Mayadei Hashem Asher Tikru Oisam B'Mayadam. The pasuk says in Emer, these are the holidays of Hashem that were callings of holiness, declarations of holiness that you should proclaim b'mayadam in their right time, in their designated time. So we learn out from here that for Kiddush HaChodesh, in order to declare Rosh Chodesh b'mayadai, b'zmanai, in the right time, you can do anything. It has to be b'mayadai. You can even be Mechalel Shabbos. Frek Tosfos v'haikra, this pasuk Eilem Mayadei Hashem is talking about Mayadei Hashem. It's been Nisan v'Tishrei Ksiv. Talking about Nisan and Tishrei because these are the months that have Moyadim, Moyadei Hashem. There's Pesach, on that depends Shavuos, and then there's, when you look in Parshas Emer, there's a list of Yom Tovim. Which Yom Tovim? It's not Chanukah and Purim. It's not Tu B'Shvat, right? It's the Yom Tovim. Which ones? He starts off with Shabbos and Emer, then he goes through the list of Yom Tovim. The list of Yom Tovim is basically Pesach, and then Shavuos, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. Done. That's it. No. From here we learn out Nisan and Tishrei. Where does Rashi get a source? Al kol hachadash mechalalas Shabbos. It says tikru the moyadim should be bismanam. For the moyadim to be bismanam, I need Rosh Chodesh Nisan to be bismana in the right time. I need Rosh Chodesh Tisha to be bismana. I don't need Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan to be in the right time for the holidays to be in the right time. Let's say Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan is a day later. Which holiday gets affected? No holiday. Yes, Shloima, it's a big question. You're bringing me a source for Chilul Shabbos from a pasuk that speaks about Yom Tovim. The pasuk doesn't say Rosh Chodesh. Every Rosh Chodesh should be bismana. But Rashi says clearly that the Pshat in Gemarah is Mechalin al Kula. Torah allows you to do Chilul Shabbos. The Rabbanan, after the Churban, said there's already no need for it.
It says in the Mishnah, Mechalin al Kula.
Where? The Mishnah says no, only Shnei Chadash. Right, but Rashi says that was a din min Torah. You're right. That's the Hezbollah in the Mishnah. The reason they were Mechalin al Kulan is because the Torah allows Chilul Shabbos. You're right. The way Rashi touches up the Mishnah. The way Rashi touches up the Mishnah. You're right, yeah. Which you asked. You asked us.
No, it's obvious. This is a yontif.
Yeah. Via Shloima, the answer is. So Tosfos says, the Mikol Makom Kol Rosh Chodesh Esrabi. This pasuk Eila Mayadei is speaking about Yom Tovim, but it includes every Rosh Chodesh. Why? Because the Ikri Mayad, it's also defined as a Mayad. There's a pasuk in Eicha Perik Aleph pasuk Tesvav. Kara alai Mayad Lishbar Bachurai. Yirmiyah Hanavi cries, he laments.
We use that for Tisha B'Av, actually.
Right. The Tisha B'Av is called Mayad. He called on me a Mayad, meaning Hashem declared a time. A Mayad comes from the word designated time. V'noi adati lecha. The word Mayad means like a base havad. It's a place of, it's designated for something. There's designated places and there's designated times. Mayad. It's like an island, a transcendental island, an oasis in time. That's what Shabbos is, Yom Tov is, Mayad. So he says, Kara alai Mayad, but not for the positive. Lishber Bachurai. To crush my young ones, my chosen ones. The Koi al Rosh Chodesh. Minayin the Koi kra Rosh Chodesh. The Isur Pei the Keitzat Soil, and there's a Gemarah in Psach. The Pei the Keitzat Soil, Daf Ein Zayin. Gabi Chiyas Shabbos v'Tumah. When it comes to overriding Shabbos and Tumah, the Gemarah says there that Se'irei Rosh Chodesh Itzter Chaleh. That the Tana of the Mishnah has to tell us that the goats that they used to bring every Rosh Chodesh, one of the offerings that they had to bring every Rosh Chodesh was a goat. A carbon chatas that was offered lash chatas lashem every single Rosh Chodesh, as we say in the Musaf of Rosh Chodesh. So the Gemarah, the Mishnah says there that the Tana has to tell us that it's doiche tumah. It overrides tumah. What do we mean it overrides tumah? If most of the koyanim are tameh, you still bring the carbon, even though you're not allowed to bring a carbon betumah usually, right? Not of that. If the koyan is tameh, you're not allowed to go into the Beis Hamikdash. But that is if you have a majority of koyanim who are pure. If you have a majority who are impure, it's doiche tumah. It overrides tumah. The soul kedai dechamin. I would think the whole reason that we know b'chlal that a carbon sibur could be offered betumah, if most are tameh, you could bring it, is because it says b'moyed. It says about the carbonas that they're all a moyed. They have to be in their designated time. So we learn out from this the Gemarah in Psachim. B'moyadai, whatever it says, b'moyadai, afilu b'Shabbos, afilu b'tumah. You don't postpone it. You got to designate it. Because b'moyadai. For example, every day by the carbon tam it says, reich nechaychi tishmeru lahakriv li, b'moyadai, in the right time. Ayit Shabbos. How do you allow to slaughter an animal on Shabbos? It's one of the avos malachas. The answer is when it says b'moyadai, it overrides Shabbos. So Tosfos says, how do you know Siri Rosh Chodesh? Sol kedai techamina like sibu moyed kamash melan no Rosh Chodesh nami moyed ikri ukeda Abaya, and this works according to Abaya. What does Abaya say? The Gemarah explains. Abaya says that the year that they sent the Miraglim, the 40 days the Moshe Rabbeinu sent the Miraglim ended on Tisha B'Av, because it says Kara alai moyed lishber bachurai. Why is moyed called Tisha B'Av then? Why would Mayad be called Tisha B'Av? Yeah. Meila Asad Love, it says Tisha B'Av is going to be a Mayad, it's going to be Nishapach L'Simcha. We're talking about then when they sent the Miraglim. What's the Kara like Mayad Lishba B'Achorah? So Abaya explains that the reason that the 40 days finished on Tisha B'Av is because the months were full. It was sent on Chavtes Sivan. Sivan was a full month, 30 days. Tammuz was a full month. So therefore, the 40 days ends on Tisha B'Av. So therefore, since they were ma'aber the Chodesh, which is basically a moyed, they made a moyed of Rish Chodesh, right? They made it. They delayed it by a day. So therefore, Tisha B'Av became the end of the 40 days when the Meraglim came back. So Tisha B'Av was designated as a Yom Puranius, and the Shvira of Bachurai began on Tisha B'Av. So Yom Ibra Chodesh is called moyed, and therefore from Eila Moyed that you could learn that all the months you could be Mechalel Shabbos.
Back up, what is it? Yom
Also. Huh?
Yeah, it's also, but it's not specific.
Right. We have a Pesachim. That's brought in Paiskim. Now we don't say Tachrun on Tisha B'Av because it's called a Moyed.
Right. You don't say Tachrun the whole over here, years. And this is the fine.
Yom Ibur HaChodesh Kari Moyed. Kara Lai Moyed. Tammuz the Shluch Meraglim.
And if you know the place of the Mizbeach, this Kurban can be...
That's what the Rambam holds. The Rambam holds in Hilchos Beis HaBchira, you could bring a carbon even if there's no Beis HaMikdash, as long as you have a Mizbeach. That was the question of Carbon Pesach, the big question, if you could bring Carbon Pesach. Not only the Rambam, many of the Rishonim hold that... no, so Tosfos just explains, Rosh Chodesh is also called Moyed. Right.
What's that Lashon? Where is that?
Sachem Ayin Zayin. And at the end of Masechet Tainis is about the fact that they made it an Ibur year, that it was a full year. Zok Tosfos weiter. Kara Moyed. Kara Lai Moyed, it was Yom Ibur HaChodesh. Because I guess then it was Ibur HaChodesh.
That's what they did.
In other words, for Tisha B'Av to become the Yom Puranis, the day that the Meraglim come back, they had to be Ma'abah the Chodesh, and that's called Moyed. In Allah it says Tisha B'Av is called Moyed, but according to Abaye, the Moyed doesn't go on Tisha B'Av. The Moyed goes on the day of Rosh Chodesh, which caused Tisha B'Av to become that day, which ultimately would be a day with many tragic occurrences.
I mean, it's a whole both.
No, because Al Pi Pshuta Shal Mikra Kara Lai Moyed is he's talking about the Yom HaChorban. Right, Al Nissen V'Tishrei Atzei Yishmu Bezdin Mekudesh. Abaye explained what's Pshad. The Gemarah, the Mishnah said that on Nissen and Tishrei Shluchim go out, and therefore it overrides Shabbos. All the month they go out for 6 months. Abaye explained that Nissen and Tishrei are different. Why? Because other months the shluchim could go out immediately, even before they hear from Bezdin Mekudesh. If they know that tomorrow Bezdin is going to make it Rosh Chodesh, they can leave the night before. So night before 31, they know tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, they can already leave at night. The night of 30, they know that tomorrow is going to be Rosh Chodesh because everybody saw the moon, they can already leave that night. Nisan and Tishrei, they have to hear it from the mouth of Bezdin Mekudesh. So Tosfos, he's going to explain here the shit of Rashi, and Bavaran a few questions. The Hashta, according to this, no, Mechal and Shabbos are the Eidin. We're going to explain. The Hashta, this is the Ktani Shaban Shluchin Yoitzin. So now we have to say this. When the Mishnah says that the reason why Mechal Shabbos, Nisan and Tishrei is because Shluchim go out, I know what it means. La'achar sheyishmu bebezdin mekudesh. Doesn't mean when they go out. They go out for many more months. They go out for 6 months. It means shebehen Shluchim Yoitzin. These shluchim, these months are shluchim not only under certain conditions. Once they hear the word mekudesh, not before. Where other months they can go out at night if they know for sure. If they know that it's likely that tomorrow Bezdin is going to be mekadesh as hachodesh. When the sin is tamu, and this is basically a reason that lekach mechalel and Allah Shabbos edim sherolas hachodesh. This is the reason that the edim are going to be mechalel Shabbos. For X2, what's the connection? So Rashi explains, Pirush Bekuntis, Rashi explains his famous explanation that we discussed. What's the explanation? Tosfos repeats his explanation. The Bashar, Chadoshim, other months, you don't be Mechalel Shabbos, why? She'ein Chilul Shabbos shel Eidim and Ma'aris Yitzias Shluch. The Eidus violating Shabbos will not hasten the departure of the Shluchim. Why? Because even if the Eidus will be Mechalel Shabbos and come on Shabbos, it will not help and hasten the Shluchim's departure. Why? She'ein Mechalel in HaShluchim Lotzeis B'Shabbos Hayom. Because the Shluchim are not allowed to be Mechalel Shabbos and leave on Shabbos, leave the Tchum Shabbos. They have to leave Mitzvah Shabbos. So therefore, even if you don't let the Eidus come today because you don't let them do Chilul Shabbos, so what's the worst that's going to happen? Yis'aber HaChodesh, the month is going to have an extra day because the Eidus only arrive Mitzvah Shabbos or Sunday. V'hakol yoidim, but everybody knows Shehem Kitchu. I'm doing it according to one of the Girses. Shehem Kitchu Lamacha. Sheyom Kitchu Lamacha is difficult. Hakol yoidim, everybody knows Shehem Kitchu Lamacha that tomorrow 31 Bezdin is going to make it holy. So Ashluchim Yotzim Mishatech Shechloim Shibru Sachayish. The Shluchim could go out once it gets dark, in other words, Mitzvah Shabbos, to tell everybody that the Chodesh has 30 days, relying that tomorrow Bezdin is going to make Rosh Chodesh. So therefore, by allowing the Eidus to be Mechalel Shabbos, you're not giving the Shluchim any more time to notify the Jewish communities in the diaspora, because Memanavshach. What's going to happen? If the Eidus come on Friday morning before Shabbos and they make Friday Rosh Chodesh, great. You can go out on Friday, no problem. You can leave Friday after. You can leave Friday, or you can actually leave. If you know for sure they're doing it Friday, you can even do it Thursday night. The problem is the moon shows up Friday night. So you're going to say, let the Eidus come right away. Shabbos, Friday night, Shabbos morning. So what's going to happen? The Shluchim could leave right away. They anyway can't leave right away. They can leave Mitzvah Shabbos. If they can leave Mitzvah Shabbos, then what do you care if the Eidus can't come on Shabbos? They'll come on Sunday. They can anyway leave Mitzvah Shabbos because you're allowed to leave the night before when you know for sure Bezdin is going to be Mechadish tomorrow, the Chodesh. Avol, Nisan, and Tishrei. Rashi says in the Gemarah, if you don't allow Eidus to come on Shabbos and you're going to make the month 30 days, the Shluchim can only go out tomorrow morning after Bezdin is Mekadosh the Chodesh, because Nisan and Tishrei they had to hear Bezdin say Mekadosh and then they go out. Why? Because Bezdin Mekadshim Balayla. You can't be sanctified Rosh Chodesh at night, so they can't do it at night. They have to do it tomorrow morning, and Eidim have to wait. Nimtzu. So if the Eidus are not allowed to come on Shabbos, Mamatim Hiluchan Mahalach Laila v'Yoseh, we diminish the duration time for the Shluchim to go by the time that it takes, the travel time of a full night, and even more. Mitzvah Shabbos and Sunday morning until Bezdin gets together and says Mekudesh. So that's why we're Mechalel Shabbos for these 2 months, so that the Eidus can come on Shabbos. Mitzvah Shabbos, the Shluchim can immediately run and go off to tell the diaspora communities when Rosh Chodesh is, and they'll have more time till Yom Tif to let everybody know the day of Rosh Chodesh.
Why was this needed during the period when they used the torches?
During the period when they used the torches, that was in the time of the Beis HaMikdash. Then they were Mechalel Shabbos for every month. Remember, by the time Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai comes around, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai lives during the destruction of the second Beis HaMikdash in the year 70. It's been already a long time that they've not been using torches, because the Sadducees in the middle of the second Beis HaMikdash stopped them from using torches because they used to make their own torches. So it's been already a long time that they're not using torches, they're using only Shluchim. This Mishnah is written post Churban Beis HaMikdash, they're only using Shluchim at this point, they can't use torches anymore. But you're right, when they used torches, you didn't need Shluchim, but you also Mechalel Shabbos.
So you could be Mechalel Shabbos.
Yeah.
Of
course.
You used torches.
Right.
So
you didn't have a problem.
Why would you ever need to be Mechalel Shabbos?
The Eidus were Mechalel Shabbos. The Eidus.
Yeah, so the Eidus was,
right? Were. And then Mitzvah Shabbos, let's say they came Shabbos afternoon.
Why would you need to quicken the process to give them a jump start? If I understand the analysis, give them a jump start. When you could use
okay, great. Because the main reason for Chilul Shabbos is not the Shluchim. The main reason for Chilul Shabbos is to make Rosh Chodesh on time. for the Yom Tovim and for the Karban Chodesh. No. That's a separate thing. If you and I see a moon Friday night, right? Friday night. By the way, did you see the moon this morning? Huh? You see the matzav? Gewaldig, huh?
2 days ago I saw it.
You see a beautiful moon before sunrise. It's a little crescent. It's already Chav Gimel.
Because it's the 23rd.
It's the 23rd. It's already a smaller crescent, a thin crescent, right?
Yeah.
You see it closer to the west before sunrise.
It's trailing.
Yeah.
So
It's now catching up to the sun.
Right.
You understand? Once it catches up to the sun, you're not going to see it anymore.
When it's a conjunction.
But you're going to see it west now. You see it west.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Right?
But, so
Not mamish west. Pretty high above, actually, yeah.
Israel is night for the sundown.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. In other words, if you beat Israel now,
Everybody's the same. East, west, no
beat
difference.
Israel right now, you
China
see what we
too.
see right now.
China too, and even Japan and New Zealand.
So you're saying for the shluchim that they can go out so that the
No. We're Mechalel Shabbos because we want Rosh Chodesh to be on time. If I saw the moon tonight,
Right.
I want to be able to come to Bezdin Shabbos morning and say today is Rosh Chodesh. That's it. We don't want to push it off by a day. That's the
You're saying
reason.
there's nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do, no.
The way it's analyzed here is
Not the Shluchim, the Eidos on Mechalel Shabbos. Yeah,
It's the same.
yeah.
It's how
Zok Toisves
So in
weiter.
other words, the Edis precedes, the Edis precedes.
Yes, pay, of course, of
What
course.
is the reason that on this 2 months you have here
That's what we're going to discuss now. We're going to discuss that in a moment.
only because of this you have to be Mechal Shabbos. If they wouldn't have not need to the hair, then it would have been like the other.
Exactly. L'chayra. We'll see in a moment. This is how Rashi explains the Gemarah. Tosfos now makes an interesting ha'ara that we made yesterday, somebody made. Udvar teime pirushay. There's one problem with his pirush. Shatola tam chilul ha'edim b'yitzias ha'shluchim. He says the reason that the Eidos HaMechal Shabbos Nisan and Tishrei is because we want the shluchim to be able to go out as soon as possible, ASAP, to let everybody know when Rosh Chodesh is. Frek Tosfos, 1 second. No, there's another major issue here. Hakimekmak, hakimekale, yoim shloishim delul b'Shabbos. V'ro eidim es ha-chodesh, al korchan tzrichin l'chalav alavi b'Shabbos. If day 30 of Elul is on Shabbos, and the Eidos saw the new moon, even if shluchim would not be delayed, even let's say shluchim could go out at night, they wouldn't be delayed. Let's say they wouldn't be delayed. You still have to let the Eidos be Mechalel Shabbos. Why? The imachrim ad achra Shabbos. If you tell the Eidos he can't come on Shabbos, remember Shabbos is day 30. If Shabbos is day 29, it's anyway not Rosh Chodesh. If Shabbos is day 32, it's anyway not Rosh Chodesh. Right? If Shabbos is day 31, it's anyway Rosh Chodesh. So we're talking about one situation. Right? Not Shabbos is 29.
So it's the way it is.
The way it is. Shabbos is day 30. That's the issue. Now the question is, can the Eidos come or not come? If it's day 31, I don't need Eidos to come. If it's day 29, doesn't help if Eidos come. Right? I can't make Rosh Chodesh day 29. There's no such a thing. Even if they saw the moon, because we're a little ahead of ourselves. It's all day 30. So it's day 30. So let's say we tell the Eidos, you're not allowed to come on Shabbos. What's going to happen? Rosh Hashanah is going to be on a Sunday. Zok Tosfos, the imachrim adachet b'Shabbos, haya mekaleya yoyim arava b'Shabbos v'dachin le'mishum arava kedamrin v'pedek lulav arava. The Gemarah explains lulav and arava. Part of the cheshbon of Rosh Hashanah is you don't make it on a Sunday or on a Wednesday or on a Friday. And the reason for Sunday is because Hoshana Rabbah. If Rosh Hashanah is on a Sunday, Hoshana Rabbah is on a Shabbos. They never wanted Hoshana Rabbah to be on a Shabbos in order to be able to perform the mitzvah of Aravas, of Hoshanas, Yom Arava. This was something, interestingly, that they dafka wanted to be observed every single year. Al Pi Nigla, one of the reasons is because the Tzdukim were against it. They didn't believe in Yom Arava because, doesn't say clearly, it's a minig neviim. It's a tradition. It's not clearly in Torah, right? That you take the Arava and Hoshana Rabbah. So they went extra mile in order to maintain it and preserve it. And Masechta Sukkot, there's a whole sugya about it, how they used to try to undermine the Yom Arava. Over then it was even on Shabbos. And what happened was, they made sure Yom HaRava is never on Shabbos. So therefore, Tosfos says, for this case, if Tishrei, the Eidus can't be Mechal Shabbos for the Chodesh Tishrei, then it's going to be on Sunday. So l'cha'oire, even without the reason of Shluchim going out fast, you still need to let them be Mechal Shabbos. It doesn't have to do with this. So Tosfos says, Umiyu an Nissen v'adai tzarech l'tal. Rashi is right for Nissen. Nissen, the reason is, in order to let the Shluchim go out faster, so if you let them come on Shabbos, they could leave Mitzvah Shabbos. But Mas Nissen Pirush HaKuntras, when you look in the Mishnah, Rashi says, Shebehem HaShluchim Yotzim, Hilcha Chashivi. The words of Rashi is that these 2 months Shluchim go out, and therefore they're Chashiv, they're prominent. Koloima, what does he mean? He means, Lefisha Shluchim Yotzim Ben Mishum Takanas Moyadus. Royal Eidim L'chal Aleim Shabbos Eshikvu Moyadus Bizmana. What does it mean, Mishum de Chashivi? All months they go out. They go out for 6 months. How do we explain this Rashi? What he means is, it's Chashivi, because the Shluchim are going to tell people when Yom Tif is. They're not going to tell people when Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan is, which doesn't have such a Chashivus. They're telling people when Rosh Chodesh Nisan is. Oh, this is Pesach. This is Isurei Chametz, Chiyuvei Matzah. That's the chshivus of it. So therefore, it's royu for the Eidim de Mechalel Shabbos, so that everybody could celebrate Yom Tif on time, both the Jews in Eretz Yisrael, and also the Jews in Chutz La'aretz, who will get the Shluchim. The Kan Nami Pirush HaKuntras Adayin, the Tam HaChilul Sheyiskadesh HaChodesh Bizmana. And here too, Rashi explains that the reason of the chilul of the Eidim at this point in the Mishnah is why? So that the Chodesh should be Mekudesh Bizmani, Kediktani Ubehen Mesaklines HaMoyadis, that you want Tikkun HaMoyadis in the right time, that Achmana Amen Asher Tikru Oisam B'Moyadam Afilu B'Shabbos. V'yitzia Shluchim Dekatani. The reason the Mishnah says it's Mitzad Shluchim, Einoi Elo Liyafos so Liyashev Tam HaChilul B'Shvil Zois. It's only to enhance the Tam HaChilul, that in addition to the fact that Nisan and Tishrei are more chashav than other months. Why? Because this tikkun hamayadis, that's the main reason you let the Eidos be Mechal Shabbos. You want Rosh Chodesh to be on time. In addition to that, we're adding something else. What is that? That is that the shluchim should be able to go out. So in other words, there's 2 nekudas. In the Mishnah, Rashi keeps it to the idea that the main reason is Mesakrin es hamayadis. That's the reason. You want the mayadis to be bizmana. The Mishnah says shebehem hashluchim yoitzim. Behem hashluchim yoitzim for the moyados. That makes these 2 months uniquely significant. That's the main reason. The reason why you even have to mention the shluchim is because you're adding another reason, and that is that it's geschmack to give the shluchim more time to go and notify the people, and you're not stam notifying the people about inconsequential Rosh Chodesh, you're notifying them about Yom Tif, and you want them also to be able to do it bizmanu, so it's an extra geschmack, a reason why you let the Eidos be Mechalel Shabbos, also for the Jews out there, that there's more communities who will hear when Pesach is, when Sukkot is, and they'll do it on the right day.
What days do the shluchim go out? What days, not in terms of Yom Tov? They would go out only on the 30th, on the 29th or 30th. They would never go the 29th. They would really go out. The 30th.
If it's other months, they could go 29 at night,
right.
or 30 at night.
Get there before Shabbos is over. The Bezin of the Tav have to make a cheshbon.
Yeah.
4.5 hours. It's
yeah.
Am I going to make a house? It's 1 day, very limited time frame that shluchim can be Mechal Shabbos.
Right. You mean Eidos?
Eidos,
yeah.
Shluchim has Mechal Shabbos.
Yeah. Sheyesh dvarim she'ein tam toli ben ve'einasin sadod aval yashvil yafos. Rashi teaches us there are things in halacha that you give a reason, but it's not the reason is the decisive factor. The reason is only a helper to enhance it, to make it nicer. We don't make a leap year only because the sheep and the goats are still too young. They're not old enough to make karbanos psachim. Because nobody could bring a carbon pesach. The answer is because you could bring a carbon pesach even from a young goat, even from a young sheep. It's not the best thing. You want to have larger sheep, you want to have larger goats, you can have more people, etc. But it's not. There's not going to be a pesach. But you do use it as a support. If you have another reason to make a nibbi, or for example, one of the reasons is Peiros Seilon, the fruits are not ready, you need Bikurim on Shavuos, etc. And it's a late winter, so therefore you have 2 reasons, you add this as a reason. The Ketzad, and they would notify all the Jews in the exile, Moedayin, Anachna, Lechayin, the Gozlaya, Rechichin, Basically, they would tell them that we're telling them also that the young animal, the young birds are rechichin, they're young, and therefore we are making. This is one of the reasons for the ibur here. Now Tosfos comes to the actual Havana. What is this klal? Let's now get to the very topic. Rashi doesn't say anything. Why did they make the Nisan and Tishrei? The Shluchim have to hear from Bezdin Mekudesh. What's the big deal? If they know tomorrow is going to be Rosh Chodesh, let them go out a night before, and then you don't have all these problems.
Because if it's 31.
If it's day 31, for sure. But even if it's day 30, why can't they go out? He says, I could explain it if they saw the moon clearly. Day 29 in the evening, or night 30, I understand. Even though for sure Bezdin is going to make Rosh Chodesh tomorrow because everybody sees a new moon, a little tiny crescent, so go out tonight. The answer is, you don't go out right away. Why? I'm afraid, you're right, it could be Rosh Chodesh, but who knows, maybe Bezdin will retract their position. They're going to reconsider and decide that this has to be a leap month. And what's going to happen if the shluchim leave right away? They come to the far diaspora, they tell them when Rosh Chodesh is. It happens to be a day early when it really was because Bezdin pushed it off. They're making Pesach on their Tesvav Nissen. Really Tesvav Nissen is Yudalad Nissen. They're supposed to make Pesach Tezayin Nissen, not Tesvav Nissen. What's happening is, everything is supposed to be a day later. Achron Shal Pesach for them is the 7th day. The next day they're eating chametz, and it's the last day of Pesach. It's the 7th day of Pesach.
What would be the reason Bezdin would do that?
Why would Bezdin do it? Why would Bezdin do it? Could, let's say one reason is Soid HaIbur, they realize...
No, but once the Eidim came and they...
No, the Eidim didn't come yet.
So the Eidim was still outside Bezdin?
We are people. The Eidim are home, but we see a moon. So we know that everybody sees the moon. So the Shluchim want to go out already. Yes.
So that means
No, it's night. It's night. Bezdin doesn't gather at night.
Right.
It's nighttime. It's 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. There's a new moon. There was no Kiddush HaChodesh at night.
Otherwise they couldn't be reviewing their decision.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
who knows? Maybe tomorrow something is going to happen.
So the Eidim had to have come for them to have had a decision.
No, there was no decision.
Why can't they
So why is it?
Yes or no?
Right, it doesn't make a difference.
They're not convening. Who says they're convening?
They said that they're renewing their decision.
No.
Tosfos says
No, tomorrow. Tomorrow, even though we saw the moon, Bezdin may decide not to. Even if Bezdin told the shluch.
The people, the general populace?
Yes.
Okay, they've seen it. Bezdin's on notice that there's a moon because they
Bezdin may have noticed, but they can't make Rosh Chodesh at night.
So their decision hasn't been made. So why
Right.
are they reviewing their decision?
Don't use the word review.
What do you? I mean, that was your word, wasn't it?
I said retract.
Retract?
No,
Mimlechi. In other words, even though could be Bezdin told the shluchim.
That means that they retract.
Okay.
They gave up
No, because Bezdin told the shluchim to go. Why do you tell me to go? Because at night they thought tomorrow is a great day for Rosh
I'm
Chodesh.
just trying to clarify my mind.
Okay.
They retracted their decision
From the
to tell
shluchim.
them to go.
Yeah.
So that means that they heard all P-Ria from the Eidim already, no?
Or they also see the moon. They also see
In
the
other
moon.
words, because it's the 29th to the 30th,
Yes.
tell them to go.
Yeah,
They
go,
don't
gay.
change it.
Go.
So
Yeah.
that's the decision.
Yes,
They didn't
yes,
make
yes,
it.
yes, yes. Yeah.
Even the
L'chayre.
they have to wait till they hear Kiddush.
Nisan and Tishrei.
Even the two.
Nisan and Tishrei.
Even not the 20th.
Yes. Dilma mimlechi bezdin amabrile and b'meila asilikal kol murders. That I understand. Tosfos says. My question is, hey, chadaloi kitzu b'yom lamed. What if they didn't make Rosh Chodesh on day 30? Why? Because the Eidos didn't come, or for another reason? Now I don't understand. Lifku b'yom lamed aleph. Let them leave day 31. Now Tosfos here doesn't mean day 31. Tosfos means the beginning of day 31. Yeah, at night. Why? Because what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Tomorrow Bezdin will decide what? We're going to day 39? There's no such a thing in halacha. It's either day 30 or day 31. If you didn't do it day 30, it has to be day 31. So Bezdin can't decide when not doing it. It's tough luck. Bezdin doesn't have the authority to make Rosh Chodesh on Chanukah. It doesn't work that way. And if that's the case, why don't you let the Shluchim go out Mitzvah Shabbos? Which of course would not be a reason not to be Mechalash, would not be a reason to... It would be a reason to be Mechalash Shabbos. To be Mechalash Shabbos. Yes, to be Mechalash Shabbos. If you let them go out Mitzvah Shabbos, they gain tremendous amount of time if you let the Eidim come on Shabbos. If you force the Eidim to come not on Shabbos, you don't let them come on Shabbos, Kiddush HaChadesh will only be on Sunday, they can only leave. When?
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
That's how we say we can leave Sunday morning. But if you let them leave Mitzvah Shabbos,
They get
then it's not a problem.
12 hours.
Oh, you mean that way? If you let them leave Mitzvah Shabbos, then you don't have to do Chilul Shabbos. You're right, yeah. Then this reason goes off. You don't need Chilul Shabbos. What are you going to gain by Chilul Shabbos? That what? That the Eidos are going to leave earlier because you did it on Shabbos? They can anyway leave Mitzvah Shabbos. That's Tosfos' question. A very strong question. Only for one situation, and that is where, if it's day 29, not day 30. But the Gemarah says, Ache Yishmu Bezdin Mekudesh goes on both situations. And for Tosfos via Shloimar, the reason they don't let the Shluchim go out even the night 31, even though there's no Kshash, the answer is the Gazru high up too high. Meaning, they decreed one case for the other case. If I let the Eidos go out night 31, I'm afraid that this attitude is going to be, you see a moon, you know there's a moon, you go. So another month, they'll go out night 30. When? On Nisan and Tishrei. So other months, we said, other months you can go. Nisan and Tishrei, we didn't want to make a distinction between one night and the other night. Tosfos adds, remember, other months you're not making a distinction. Other months you let them leave at night for both situations. So now on Nisan and Tishrei, if you let them leave on one night, it's going to be easy for people to make that mistake and go out also the night early, and that we don't want to because that could make a churban in the Yom Tov. So therefore we just made carte blanche that Nisan and Tishrei, you just don't go out at night, you wait till the morning. The Shluchim went out at night, and tomorrow Bezdin says, yes, yes, because we're afraid if we let them go out on night 31, they may not distinguish, and other years they'll go out night 29, night 30. They'll go a night early.
They're going up at Bezdin. Bezdin is the one who's deciding over here when they're going out.
Right.
Well, Rashi already explained to us and Tosfos that is Liyapois, Layashva. It's not the main reason. The main reason is Minat Torah you're allowed to do Chilul Shabbos. Remember that. Minat Torah you're allowed to do Chilul Shabbos. After the Churb, on every month. Rabbi YY ben Zakkai was Mavatal it because other months he said,
to minimize it over. He said, let's minimize it.
let's minimize Chilul Shabbos. Why? Because he didn't see a Tayalis anymore, and it could even be, this is after Claire, that he held that Minat Torah you can't be Mechal Shabbos anymore. The reason is b'mayadai, for there's a Karbonis, there's no Karbonis, but for Pesach and Shavuos for sure you can be Mechal Shabbos. Even though there's no Karbonis, there's Yom Tov. Yom Tov is Minat Torah, right? But other months, let's minimize the Chilul Shabbos. Did he hold that after the Churban it becomes an Issa Minat Torah to be Mechal Shabbos? That's a good Shaila. That's a good Kleh.
But you can't do it because you can't bring a
No, Beis HaMikdash. L'k'shei yibana Beis HaMikdash, avi chatas shmeina.
The list of things you know.
So these 2 months, the main thing is Yamim Tovim. Rashi says sometimes we add a reason because when Chachamim are considering things, yeah, there's another reason. You know, when you have to make a big decision in life, you have pros and cons. You have the big pro, the reason. But then you add up, but this is also going to be good, this is going to be good. You know, you understand what I'm saying? You're not going to make a reason for that. That's not going to be your reason. You have to move somewhere, right? So kids' schools is a reason, yeah? It's a decisive reason, yeah? Your wife to be happy is a decisive reason. But then you put in another few perks. For example, you have a garden. It's called a perk, huh? A good pizza store in the neighborhood. Incentives. That's the main reason to move, you say.
It's not a deal killer, in other words.
It's not a deal killer. It's not a deal breaker.
It's not a deal maker.
But it's a geschmacka reason.
You call it a scientific reason?
Zaitik, in Yiddish it's called Zaitik, yeah. Rashi says, L'sa'oida li'apais. Weiter. Sag the Mishnah. Yeah, what's unclear?
I think Bezdin is the one who's sending them out.
You want to know how could Bezdin make these mistakes? Bezdin is doing it.
Why would we be chayshish? The whole reason.
The Bezdin should be educated and they shouldn't send out people. Why does Taisvis believe, yeah? It could be, I don't know, I hear your question. He's asking why Bezdin doesn't make a mistake. Just like the Gemarah says there's no shvus b'mikdash, yeah? Because Kayanim is Rizin. Bezdin knows what they're doing. The answer could be that perhaps people can act on their own here. If you see a beautiful moon and it's clear, maybe you're not going to think twice and off you are, right? And let's say you live close to the border of Eretz Yisrael, you're not even near Yerushalayim, yeah? You're close to the border of Eretz Yisrael. And you see a wonderful moon at night, right? Off you may go.
No, you don't know that Shluchim is gonna, that Shluchim gonna go to Beis Din, because if you live, let's say, in Tzfat, and you see the moon, you don't know that somebody's gonna go all the way to Yerushalayim.
I'm saying if you know that they saw the Yerushalayim the moon.
If you saw in Yerushalayim, then
yes,
then
you may off go right away. That's perhaps what we're worried about.
Yeah, then you don't need
It's a
shluchim
job.
period.
These guys had
They're
a
all
job. They
professionals,
did
then
the job.
forget the shluchim.
But do you think every month the shluchim came to Bezdin and
Yeah.
Okay, Aiden and shluchim are
Well, Pashtus, the Shluchim was sent from Bezdin.
from Beis Din, the Beis
Yeah,
Din
the
is
shluchim means that they were
They
sent.
know already if it's a shchodesh.
every month. Every month the Shluchim was sent by Beis Din.
Gozru high, atu high.
It's a good try. To be nice. She's gonna bother you for the Shluchim. No, don't. Shabbos.
Huh? What'd you say?
I said if he's gonna bother him so much, he's not gonna sleep tonight. He can no.
Okay. Next Mishnah, Chafala from Beis, second Mishnah. Fascinating Mishnah. Bein Shenira Ba'alel. No difference. It's a very interesting way how the Mishnah begins. Bein Shenira Ba'alel. No difference if the moon was visible. What do we mean the moon was visible? The moon was visible to everybody.
Clear.
It was a clear sky, and it's a beautiful, clear moon to everybody. Whether it's that, Bein Shaloi Nira Ba'alel, or the moon was not clearly visible. You need sharper vision to be able to see it, or perhaps it was a cloudy evening, which eclipsed the vision. That's Loi Nira Ba'alel. In both cases, Mechalel and Alavas HaShabbos.
If you saw it.
If two witnesses saw it, they're allowed to desecrate Shabbos to come and testify. You might think, if the moon is barely visible, then you let the Eidos come. But if the moon is so conspicuously visible, there's so many other Jews who don't have to be Mechalel Shabbos to come and testify. Why should I go and be Mechalel Shabbos? Says the Mishnah, no, you're always Mechalel Shabbos. Rabbi YY argues, he says, Im nira ba'alel ein Mechalel Lavas HaShabbos. If the moon is clearly visible, you're not allowed to do Chilul Shabbos. You know why? Because you probably do not need these witnesses, because obviously Bezdin themselves saw it in Yerushalayim, or Jews near Bezdin, and they'll be able to be Mekadosh the Chodesh without you.
Why doesn't the Beis Din say non-Sahadik? We saw it ourselves. Why doesn't the Beis Din?
The witness can't be the judge. We'll soon see.
I'm saying the Beis Din itself could
If there's enough of them, they could use them as Eidos.
So some of them would have to be.
Yes.
But not if there was a small
Yeah.
Beis Din.
Yes.
Can I be the Testify and the Beis Din?
Yeah.
I guess my question is, does the concept of a non-Sahabi apply in the case of Alpi Rio?
Yep.
they themselves could say, but they'd have to learn different path.
Yeah.
Is that true, that concept will apply, that evidentiary concept?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Now let's understand, what's the svara? The svara we can understand. There's two ways how to learn it. One way how to learn it is, as we're soon going to see in the Mishnah, a similar story. L'chayr, if everybody saw such a clear moon, isn't Rabbi YY right? But Tadakama holds, you're right this time, but you know what's going to happen? Next time, the moon is going to be less clear, and the Eidos also won't come. So therefore, just let them always come. However, the Pnei Yeshua explains the reason is because, let's understand, you're right, it's possible that people should come to Bezdin even without the Eidos. But that's true every month. The whole din that you're allowed to be Mechalel Shabbos for observing the moon is a suffix. It's a din of suffix. You're not certain that your testimony is going to make Kiddush HaChodesh, but that's the whole din. Because whenever you come, there's a suffix that somebody else came and they don't need you. Nonetheless, the din is you're allowed to be Mechalel Shabbos on a suffix, even if it's suffix beneficial or not or not beneficial. So here also that the suffix is a larger suffix, but that's the din. Now, don't tell me, oh, for sure people are going to come and therefore don't be Mechalel Shabbos. You're not sure, even though it's a very, very, very likely that other people are going to come, but even Machmas HaSuffik can be Mechalel Shabbos because that's the din. The din is you can be Mechalel Shabbos for the suffix. Rabbi YY disagrees. And the Gemarah now tells a story. Ma'aser she'avru yoser me'arboyim zug. So once a ma'aser, a story, that more than 40 couples, 40 pairs of Eidos, that means 80 people. A zug is 2 people, a pair. More than 40 pairs of Eidos were passing by, were traveling to come to Yerushalayim and testify that they saw the new moon. Probably on Shabbos. Right. V'ikvam Rabbi Akiva belud. Rabbi Akiva lived in Lud and he saw what's happening and he stopped them in Lud. What's the reason he stopped them in Lud? Probably, it seems like, Rabbi Akiva says there's 40 pairs of Eidos going on Shabbos. Why are they all being Mechalel Shabbos? What do you need 80 Jews to be Mechalel Shabbos? You already have 2 witnesses to go tell Bezdin they saw the moon. You don't need so many Jews traveling on Shabbos. So Rabbi Akiva did not let them go further. Rabbi Akiva stopped them and said, here, you'll stay here for Shabbos. What happened? The Nasi at the time, the leader of the Sanhedrin, the head of the Sanhedrin, the president, so to speak, of the Sanhedrin was a man named Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Akiva's colleague. Sholach lo Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel sends a message. He hears what happened. Probably 2 of the witnesses arrived and said, by the way, there's another 40 pairs behind us, or 39 pairs behind us. Rabbi Akiva didn't let them go. Rabbi Gamliel sends him a message. If you stop the public from going, nimtzis machshilon la'asid lava. You're going to create a terrible stumbling block for these witnesses in the future. In other words, there's going to be another month. They're going to see the moon, not even on Shabbos. And what are they going to say? Why should I schlep? It's Shabbos morning. It's Shabbos morning. I could relax. I could stay home. Why should I schlep to Yerushalayim? I saw last month I slept, and on the way they anyway told me not to go. Right? They told me not to go. Now you can ask the same question, even if they come, if they see they're not needed, they're not going to come next month. So that we're going to learn later in Mishnayos, that they used to dine them. Dine them, honor them and dine them because they wanted them to come. But here, maybe Rabbi Akiva also dined them. We don't know. I'm sure Rabbi Akiva gave them a wonderful Shabbos and they got to hear a shir from Rabbi Akiva. So Nishkan Kleinigkeit spending Shabbos with Rabbi Akiva. But nonetheless, they left the house. Maybe they traveled all night. That's what they did. Next month they're going to say, who needs the headache? Who needs the headache? I'm anyway not coming. So Gamliel told Rabbi Akiva this is a mistake. Let 80 Jews come. Involve Chilul Shabbos so that the institution of Eidos should remain powerful.
So in other words, they weren't bothered all. They stopped the examination at a certain point. Like if it's the third part.
Well, we're going to learn later that they used to speak to all the Eidos to make them feel that it wasn't just a waste of time. Rashi, Nira ba'alil ein mechalil l'fi shein tzarich. Rabbi YY says there's no need. Why should you do Chilul Shabbos when there's no need? It would seem like Rabbi Akiva was following Rabbi YY. Just like when the moon is clear, you're not Mechalel Shabbos. When you have so many witnesses, you're not doing Mechalel Shabbos. Arboyim Zug, Zak Rashi, Shnei Eidim. What's up, Arboyim Zug? Because it's basically two witnesses, zug achar zug. Peer after peer was showing up. Peer after peer was showing up. So it seems like from Rashi that what they were going zeh achar zeh, zug shnei edim, zug achar zug, one zug after the other zug, and therefore Rabbi Akiva stopped them. Zog the Gemarah, what does alil mean? Nire ba'alil or loy nire ba'alil? So we explained alil means clear. Mai mashma the high alil lishna de miglihu. Where do we know from the Tanakh that the word alil basically is a term, a lashon that represents migli? Migli means revealed. The moon is revealed. So the Gemarah, Amar Rabbo, Amar Kra. Rabbo says it's a pasuk in Tehillim, Perik Yud Beis, Kapitel 12. Imrois Hashem Amoris Tahiris, Kesef Tzaruf Ba'alil La'oretz Mezukok Shivasai. The sayings of Hashem are pure. They're clear. They're authentic. Kesef Tzaruf. It's like silver that is refined. Not just refined, it's mezukok shivasayim. It's refined sevenfold. It's refined and then again and again and again sevenfold to take out all of the dirt, all of the sediments from the silver. What is it called? All the impurities from the silver. And what does it say? Kesef tzaruf ba'ali la'aretz. Its refinement is visible to everybody on earth. Ba'ali la'aretz. It's begoli. It's migli. That's where we see, Rashi says, Ba'alil la'aretz, goloi l'kal. So when the Mishnah says Ba'alil, it means everybody sees the new moon. It's clear. In both cases, whether it's clear or unclear, the Tana Kama says you can be Mechalel Shabbos. Zog the Gemarah, Rav Shmuel. Rav and Shmuel have an interesting argument. Chad Amar one says, Chamishim Shari Bina Nivru Boilam. 50 gates of wisdom, of understanding were created in the world. All of the 50 gates, Shari Bina, were given to Moshe Rabbeinu, save one. What's the connection to this pasuk? Zak Rashi, Chamishim Shari Bina, Sefer the Haikra Darshi Rav Shmuel. Rav and Shmuel are basically explaining the end of this pasuk. Mezukok Shivasayim is Sheva Shviyos. Refined sevenfold means that it's refined 7 times 7. Not 7 times, Sheva Shviyos. 7 times 7. Vehem, which is of course 49. Chamishim Chaser Achas Shenimstru L'Moshe. This basically represents that Moshe Rabbeinu experienced Imrois Hashem Mezukak Shivasayim. This Imrois Hashem come in 49 methods, 49 gates of understanding, plus there's one more. So Mezukak Shivasayim, Moshe Rabbeinu gets Chamishim Chaser Achas. Lamadnu Shechamishim Nivru, there were 50. Sharei Ma'at Nechsam Elikim, as we will see the Gemarah, because one was missing. Shenemar, the pasuk says about Moshe Rabbeinu, Vatechasreyu, this is also Kapitel Ches in Tehillim, Vatechasreyu Me'at Me'elikim. You made him missing a little bit. There's something that was taken from him, a little bit, less than Elikim. What's this ma'at? So the Gemarah says this is the Shar Echad, because 50 gates were created. But the Chasrei Ma'at Me'elikim is talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, and you're saying about the Chasrei Ma'at Me'elikim. So Mezukak Shivasayim is Moshe Rabbeinu got 49. Why 49? Because but the Chasrei Ma'at Me'elikim is missing something from Elikim. By Shlomo HaMelech it says, Bikesh Koheles Limtzei Divrei Chefetz. The pasuk says in Koheles Perik Yud Beis. Let's read the whole pasuk. Bikesh Koheles Limtzei Divrei Chefetz. Koheles seeked to find desirable words of V'chasuv Yoshe Divrei Emes. What does this mean? Teaches the Gemarah, Bikesh Koheles Lias K'Moshe. Koheles wanted to be like Moshe, meaning he wanted to comprehend the 49 Shari Bina. Yotzes Abaskel v'Amrillah, Abaskel tells him, V'kasuv Yoshe Divrei Emes. It says in Torah, in Sefer Dvarim, which is called Sefer Hayashar, it says there, V'loikam Navi Oid B'Yisrael K'Moshe. There was never another Navi like Moshe. This is what it says in V'zois HaBracha. These are words of truth, that there's nobody who's like Moshe Rabbeinu, and therefore, Koheles cannot receive the 49 gates of understanding. That's the Pshat. Bikesh Koheles limtze divrei chayfetz. He wanted to be like Moshe Rabbeinu. The chas of Yoshe divrei emes was the response, the baskel, the heavenly voice that told him, no. It already says in Torah, like come Navi b'Yisrael Kamoshe, and therefore this is not for you. This is the opinion of one of the Amirayim, Rav Shmuel. The Chad Amar, another Amirah, argues and says, B'Neviim like come, B'Malachim come. When it says there's no other Navi like Moshe, it means there was no other prophet like Moshe. But in terms of kings, there could be a king who's like Moshe. Shlomo HaMelech indeed comprehended the 49 gates of wisdom that Moshe Rabbeinu comprehended. Like come Navi b'Yisrael Kamoshe. But a Melech could be in the Bechina of Moshe. Elamani Mekayim Bikesh Koheles limtze divrei chayfetz. So what's Pshat in Koheles that Shlomo HaMelech was looking for something that he did not get? According to the first opinion, it's clear. According to the second view, and for the Gemarah, Bikesh Koheles lodin dinin shebelev shaloi be'edim v'shaloi b'hasra. Koheles, Shlomo HaMelech, he wanted to judge and create justice dinin shebelev, according to his heart. He wanted to create the din according to his heart, without witnesses and without warnings. In other words, when you see a person from wisdom and from sensitivity and spiritual perception, you could see everything that happened. You know what he did, you know what he didn't do, you know if he did it willingly, you know if he did it unwillingly. The whole reason you have to warn, there's no punishment in Torah without a hasra. It was almost impossible to get a punishment in Torah. It's not like you ate chaylev, you got malchus the next day. The Eidos had to see you, and they had to warn you before you did it. So if you did it, it wasn't enough. They had to warn you. And you had to do it within a few seconds of the warning. And you had to respond to the warning. You had to affirm that you can't just Eidos tell you, oh, don't do this, and you do it, you get malchus. First of all, they have to tell you what the punishment is going to be. Within a few seconds, you have to right away respond and do it right away. If you wait 10 seconds, we say, oh, maybe he forgot. So it was very difficult to get an einish. Because you have to have all this to make sure it was amazing. And in order to do all this and to get an einish, you have to be a meshugan. And if you're a meshugan, you anyway didn't get a punishment. Right? So it wasn't easy to get a skill and a sefer. The Mishnah, the Sugya Sanhedrin, a Sanhedrin that kills once in 70 years. Right? Akiva says they're called makas chavlana. They're called killers, terrorists. Once in 70 years. I mean, right? It wasn't a simple process. So Shlomo HaMelech said, you know what, I don't need witnesses. I don't need hasra, I don't need warning. I know the matzav, I know people. I know the matzav. Sometimes you know, right? Amroloi, B'atza Baskav Amroloi, the cost of Yoshe Divrei Emes. It says in Sefer Dvarim and Chumash, Alpi Shnayim Eidim, Shloisha Eidim, Yumas HaMeis, Yumas Alpi Eidechad. You need two witnesses. In other words, the only way to make a din is according to Eidim, and according to Asra, according to warning. And these are words of emes, and because these are words of emes, you can't change it. Rashi, the ksivat chasrei mat melekim, b'mizmar ma enosh kisis kirenu, with chasrei mat melekim, in that mizmar, in capital ches, so therefore, Shlomo HaMelech says. It's interesting that the Netziv, based on this, explains a very interesting story in Chumash. According to the first view, Shlomo HaMelech received what Moshe HaMelech could not receive what Moshe received, the 49 Shari Bina. According to the second view, he did get Mentas Shari Bina, and he wanted to even judge without witnesses and Asra, but on this we said, Al Pishnayim Eidim. The Netziv explains, he has a commentary on Chumash, Hamik Dover, Harchiv Dover, Reb Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, the Rosh Hashiva of Alozhin, the Rav of Alozhin. So in his commentary on Chumash, he asks, what was the argument between Yisroi and Moshe? In Parshas Yisroi, Moshe judges everybody. He sits himself, and every problem, every question, every dispute, every machlokas, every din Torah, and trust me, when you have 4 million Jews together, there were many of them, all come to Moshe. Moshe judges everything. So Yisro says, "Is madu ata yoshev levadecha, novel tibol, gam ata. You're going to rot. You're going to decompose. Person can't do this." And he says you have to delegate. You have to appoint people. You can't do this on your own. Shine. What was Moshe thinking? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that one person can't deal with the problems of 4 million people. Every debate, every machlokes, you took my picture, you took my man, I took your man, you're in my tent, you're near my tent, you're too close to me. You know what happens when 10 Jews are together, yeah? You're 4 million Jews together, and they were stressed out, as we see in Chumash. I mean, it's a pashta thing, you need help, one man. So the Netziv Tain is very interesting. That the Gemarah brings in Sanhedrin, there's a quick question. When you come to a Rav, you come to a Bezdin, should they look for a pshara or not? In other words, what's the best option? Do we look for a compromise to make everybody happy? You're having a fight over $1,000, okay, give him 500. You're having a fight over a house, okay, split the house, whatever, do these types of things. Right? Or no. Right. Or right or wrong. So the machlokes in Gemarah. One shit is Yaakov Adina Sahar. Justice. I have to go into a mountain, that's fine. That's the main thing. You have to go according to justice. Another shit is no, first you look pshara. And then the halacha is, that's what you do. The halacha is you always try to seek pshara. And then, if they don't want a pshara, then you have to go with a real din Torah. Huh? Okay, but that's also the halacha in Choshen Mishpat. The first thing you try is a pshara.
But they have to be master.
The Gemarah, of course they have to be master. Yeah, they both have to be master.
They make you sign beforehand.
Yeah.
So you're not going to question
why
they pass from pshara.
Right.
Why? Because they can answer you.
Right. You have experience. So the Gemarah says this was the machlokes of Moshe and Aaron. Aaron was Oyev Shalom, Roid of Shalom. He wanted to make everybody happy. Moshe Rabbeinu, Yaakov Adina Sahar. Why the Nitziv says? Why is this? Moshe. So he says, Pashat. A pshara is based on the fact that we're ignorant. I don't know. You're both screaming at each other that you're both ganavim. What am I? Avruch HaKodesh, Av Nevuah. So I say, listen, let's work out a deal. It's not based on emes. It's based on make it workable so that everybody should get a little bit and give up a little bit. Everybody bites a bullet. Everybody you go home. Hopefully, either you'll both hate me or you'll both love me. I mean, you know how it goes with psharas. With Moshe, this couldn't work. He saw right away what's happening. He saw immediately what's happening. This guy screams, he's a ganev. He knew. This couldn't work by Moshe Rabbeinu. So there was two miles. On one hand, everything went very fast. Everything went very fast.
But it was everybody.
And it was everybody, and it was very, very decisive. It was extremely decisive. On the other hand, people were constantly upset.
Not because he was doing Shibboleth, he was
Huh?
doing it for Torah.
Yeah, since it was Moshe Rabbeinu, so he says, novel tibble atavam, this is how the Nitzim, there's different, this is how he teaches it, that basically, you need the art of pshara. The art of pshara is a different art. Novel tibble, because it's very, very truthful, but it's very, very intense, it's extreme. If you delegate to other people, they won't be able to do it this way. They can't do it this way. And therefore they're going to have to embrace the art of pshara. This was a different pchin, this wasn't the pchin of Moshe Rabbeinu.
Was it Aaron the representative? What does that have to do with him?
I'm saying Shlomo Melech wanted to do dinim shebelev. He said, no, al pi shnayim edim.
He also knows how to do it.
Dinim shebelev means you can discern with your heart the emes. You could discern with your heart. So he said, no, you can't do it this way. You need edus. You need the due process.
You go to the third and sign something that you're not going to question.
In other words, in halachic oisius, edim and asra is not only to be mevarer the emes, it's also a din. It's not only to be mevarer that
Establishes.
it's a din.
That
Yeah,
is emes now.
Part of the process. It's the din of the process.
It's like Rishchodesh.
it's a din. Yeah, it's not just if I know the truth. I know the truth anyway, right? Okay. The first line on Chav Beis Amud Aleph. Maise she'avru Yosef marbayim zug ve'ikfur Nebakiva belud. So what's the story? The Gemarah quoted the machlokes between the first Tana, Tanakama, and Rabbi Yossi. Tanakama hold you're always allowed to violate the Shabbos to come testify that you saw the new moon, whether the moon was visible clearly or the moon was not so clear. Rabbi Yossi says no. If the moon was clear, the Gemarah, the Mishnah calls Ba'alil, if it was conspicuously clear, then you're not allowed to desecrate the Shabbos because you can assume that others who are close nearby saw it as well. Then the Gemarah tells us to.
That's not Miki the Din. Miki the Din, you can be Chal Shabbos. Even the basic holds, when I tell you, you can be Chal Shabbos.
Chayra.
No? It's only the Gezeres Chachad, Gezerah. Chayra.
Chayra.
Miki the Din, you can't be Chal Shabbos when people is come.
Chayra.
Then he, Shabbos, what did the Rekiva hold?
And then the Gemarah tells, the Mishnah tells the story that there was a story that more than 40 peers, 40 couples of witnesses were traveling to Yerushalayim, or they were traveling to the Sanhedrin, wherever the Sanhedrin was. The Gemarah doesn't say, the Mishnah doesn't say where. And Rabbi Akiva stopped them in Lud, and Rabbi Gamliel, who was the head of the Sanhedrin, sends him a message. And the message basically says this was an error, because if you would stop by stopping all of these witnesses, this time it's not a problem, because there were a lot of witnesses. But next time, la'asid lavi, next time, you're going to create a michshel, a stumbling block, because people who might have seen it will not bother to come, and who knows if there will be edis when you need them. That was the story in the Mishnah. The beginning of the Gemarah explained the word ba'alil, and then right to the Gemarah goes to the story. So the Gemarah Tanya, we learned a Brais. Amar Rabbi Yehuda says, Chas v'shalom Rabbi Akiva ikvan. God forbid to say that Rabbi Akiva actually stopped these edis from coming. Ella, what happened was, it's a whole different mice. There was a man named Shizpar. He was Rosh Hashanah. He was the mayor of a community, a city called Geder. He was the Rosh, he was the leader, he was the head. Ikvan. This man, Shizpar, he is the one who stopped the edis. V'shalach Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel sent a message. V'hayridu migdulasai. And they dethroned this man, Shizpar. So Rabbi Yehuda argues with the story, the way that the story is recorded in our Mishnah. And Rabbi Yehuda says, this is not what happened. It wasn't Rabbi Akiva, and that wasn't the message of Rabbi Gamliel. It was a man named Shizpar, and he was the head of Geder, and he is the one who did it, and then he was dethroned because of this mistake that he made. This is how Rabbi Yehuda had the story, a completely different version.
The same Rabbi Akiva that wrote the Mishnah? The same Rabbi Yehuda that wrote the Mishnah?
Huh? No.
This is a different Rabbi Yehuda.
Yeah.
You have to say, because...
Yeah, Avada. So they bring the Mefarshim, one of the Mefarshim is Mezgeres Hazav. He says it's l'chayda psadoichik to say, so what is it, an argument in Metzias? Like what happened? I mean, in other words, so he says that the Mishnah is not really arguing with Rabbi Yehuda. It's just that Shizpar really prevented them. Rabbi Yehuda lived in that place, or he was there in that place. Rabbi Akiva didn't protest it. Rabbi Akiva let it go. So Rabbi Gamliel sent him a message. By not protesting what this man did, Nimtzas Machshil and La'asid Lava. So Rabbi Yehuda is just clarifying, don't think it was Rabbi Akiva's idea to stop them. It wasn't Rabbi Akiva's idea, somebody else's idea. Just Rabbi Akiva didn't protest him. That's how the Mizgeres Hazov tries to make peace between the two perspectives. Okay, weiter. What do you want to? Somebody, you want to?
No, it was Yavne, no?
Pashtas, yeah.
L'chayra.
Yeah. You wanted to say something?
No, I just thought it's interesting that you've got a temporal mayor, and Rabbi Gamliel can place and put
Dethroned
him out
him.
of the job. So it's not a
No faith. But
Yeah, I saw one of the Mefarshim actually teaches the Gemarah differently. Shalach Rabbi Gamliel is like the Mishnah said. He sent a message to Rabbi Akiva. And Haridu Megidolase is something separate. I mean, in Pashtus you read Shalach Rabbi Gamliel sent a message that they should dethrone him. Others learn Shalach Rabbi Gamliel is like the Mishnah said. He sent a message to Rabbi Akiva. And Haridu Megidolase, and the people over there dethroned him. One of the two. Zog the Mishnah weiter. Fascinating machlekes. Avu b'noi shiro was a father and a son who both saw the new moon, which is of course very common. Family is sitting or standing on their porch, and they see the new moon. What's the halacha? Says the Mishnah Yelchu. They should both travel to testify. And as Tosfos explains on Amid Beis, this means even on Shabbos. It's not just the middle of the week, where it's also a chiddush, as we'll see in a moment, but even on Shabbos. That's why it says, Yelchu, they should both go. In the middle of the week, it's not such a big chiddush. The chiddush is even on Shabbos. Don't think the Tana says that they're going to combine with each other to constitute a unit of edus, of testimony, because it's a father and a son. And relatives usually are disqualified from serving as kosher, valid witnesses in halacha. So why are you sending them both? Ella, the answer is, why do you send both? Why don't you just send one? She'im yipasel echad mehen. If one of them is going to get disqualified in the process. Because as we're going to see later in the next perek, Beis Din heavily scrutinized and examined and cross-examined and investigated the testimony, and they used to investigate everybody separately about what they saw and then make sure that their testimony matched each other. So therefore, if one of them will be disqualified as a result of the investigation, or maybe not as a result of the investigation, as a result of character disqualification. We're going to see later, there's certain people, not mitzad investigation. Mitzad investigation, he could be good, but pashat mitzad certain things he did, if you know about the father, he's going to be pasal edus. So whatever the reason is, yitztaref hasheni im acher, the second one, who is not disqualified, will be combined with another person who's not a relative, and together they will be able to testify that they saw the moon. So therefore, don't stop both father and son coming. Not that both of them will ever be used. One of them will certainly not be used, because you can't use two relatives. So then why send both? Send the chatchila one, because it happens to be that maybe only one more person will come, and one of these two will become pasul, and if you don't have anybody else, you're done. So therefore, always send as more people as possible, even if it's a father and a son. That's what the Mishnah says. Interesting, Meiri says a harder. Generally, we have a din in Sanhedrin that in every edus, if one of the edim is a karev or a apostle, so the whole edus is batel. Right? Yeah. If one of them is a relative or disqualified, it's mevatel the whole edus. But here you're not going to say that. One of them is apostle, and still, you're going to use the other one. The answer is because if they all come together as a unit, then the disqualification of one disqualifies everybody else. But here, lechatchila, they didn't come to work together as one edus. So therefore, the Meiri says, when one of them gets disqualified, the second person's edus is considered an edus acheres, a completely different edus, and can combine with somebody else. This is what the Mishnah paskins. Reb Shimon argues and says, when it comes to this testimony of the new moon, you can use a father and a son together, and all other relatives. So you can have two brothers, you can have a father and a son, whoever the relative is, it's no problem, it's all kosher leidus hachodesh. So therefore, of course a father and a son should come. Not only if one of them gets puzzled, because both of them could be used as the edus. Rabbi YY said, Maisa b'Tuvia haroife. It's a story about Tuvia the doctor. I guess everybody knew Tuvia the doctor. He saw the new moon in Yerushalayim, but not only him. He, Uvnai and his son, v'avdoi meshucher. Plus he had a liberated slave. In other words, he had a slave who was an Eved Knaini, a non-Jewish slave. He came into the family to work for the family, to work for Tuvia. When you become Eved, becomes a Jewish slave, he goes through a semi-conversion, and he has a semi-status of a Jew. He's mechuyev in all the mitzvahs a woman is mechuyev, right? He goes through a bris, etc. Once you liberate him, once you emancipate him, now he's a regular Jew. No difference. So he had a Eved, he happened to liberate. So it's three Jews, and they all three see the moon. Two are relatives, a father and a son. The Eved is not a relative. He's like a convert. He also sees the new moon. What happens now? V'kiblu hakoyanim oisei v'esbnoi. The koyanim accepted he and his son. You have in Gemarah in a few places in Shas there was a bezdin shel koyanim. The koyanim among themselves had a bezdin. They would make the decisions about the Beis Hamikdash and about the koyanim and all these issues. They happened to come first to the koyanim. They were in Yerushalayim. The Koyanim, the Bezdin of Koyanim, you have to say the Bezdin of Koyanim. Why are they coming to Koyanim here? What does that do with Koyanim? They're going to testify about the new moon. But the Bezdin of Koyanim accepted he and his son. Apparently, they agreed with Reb Shimon's view that a father and a son are kosher l'idus hachodesh, or posluas avdei. But they disqualified his servant. They held that even though a father and a son are kosher, but you need a Jew who comes from the Jewish dynasty. They didn't hold that a convert should be kosher l'idus hachodesh, which is a strange thing, because there's no difference. Person converts, he's a full Jew. But they felt that there's a din by Eidos HaChodesh that you can't use an Eved even though he's emancipated. In other words, he's a full Jew. We'll soon see in Tosfos why they would hold like this.
When he says that they even come to the base, also the Sanhedrin.
The Sanhedrin, yeah.
So here suddenly we have a second base team.
Will they be Mekadosh Chodesh?
No. We'll soon see what happened.
This is probably just like, entrance exam. Oh, we don't have to use the Sanhedrin.
Or maybe they consulted them before. Maybe they were there.
The gatekeepers.
Huh? The gatekeepers, maybe they consulted them before. What should one go home? That's what happened. So the Kibla Koyanim Oisev as Benai. The Koyanim accepted he and his son. They said it's fine. However, Posluas Avdoi, they disqualified his Eved and they said the Eved nisht. The Eved is not good. Shabol ifnei Bezdin. When they came before the Bezdin, before the actual court, Kiblu Oisei Vesavda. They accepted him and his servant. Upaslu was Benai, and they disqualified his son. They hold like Tanakama, not like Reb Shimon, that relatives, apostle Eidos HaChodesh. So therefore, but the Eved is kosher Eidos HaChodesh. You can use an Eved, it's not a problem. You can use a convert, he's a full Jew, regular Jew. Huh?
Eved Meshuchar, it's not.
Eved Meshuchar, yeah, Eved Meshuchar is not an Eved Knaini. But Meila, they accepted him and his Eved and they disqualified his son. So this story that Rabbi YY brings is a sayata, it's a proof that the way they used to paskin was like Tanakama, not like Reb Shimon. They didn't accept the father and the son. They didn't accept relatives, they accepted him and his Eved. That's the story. Yeah.
I mean, something affects the entire nation. When you have two different Bodinim, it's bound to be problems.
You're right. You're right.
The system, there must be some mechanism in the system that it should work, otherwise.
No, I'm telling you that the Bezdin of Koyanim, they were in charge of the Inyanim of the Beis HaMikdash. It was like a Bezdin for that particular. They were the experts in this particular area.
They could not be Mekadosh Chodesh.
I met a Yid the other day at a Simcha. So I asked him what he does. So one of the things he does is he's from the Dayanim for the Dinei Torah that happened in the Beis Medrash Gavoya of Lakewood. I said, what type of thing? He says, you wouldn't believe how many fights there are over tables and chairs. This is my seat. You have thousands of younger light, yeah? Guy goes away, he gets married, he comes back, boom, it's gone.
That's not the Vesmedrish. The Vesmedrish is only standards, but okay.
No, the Chmein Stendes.
That's the lunchroom. That's where the big fights are.
So he told me that there's a group, Choshe Mishpat Dayanim, who have to deal with this. He said he gets paid for it also. I'm saying. This is a particular court that has to deal with particular issues. I'm not comparing the same types of disputes, but whatever. So not that they undermine the authority of them.
But these Beitis Lukanim, they're not Mekadosh Chodesh.
What'd you say?
No.
They can't do anything for the Chodesh.
Like Shlomi said, they're gatekeepers.
It's an opinion.
Yeah, or they were there and they wanted to ask them their opinion if they should all go. So they said, take the ben and send home the Evet. Apparently they didn't like what they said. Yeah, they went to Bezdin and they realized Nishtasa. Now the Gemarah explains the Svara. Sag the Gemarah. Zog the Gemarah, Amar Reb Levi said, My time with the Reb Shimon. What's the reason of Reb Shimon who says that you could use relatives, a father and a son? So Levi says, because here there's a unique pasuk. Tiksiv, when it comes to sanctifying the new moon and making it Rosh Chodesh, the pasuk says in Parshas Boy, and this is the whole source of the mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh, the first mitzvah that was given to Jews before they left Mitzrayim, before Yitzias Mitzrayim. This mitzvah was said when? On Rosh Chodesh Nisan, 2 weeks before Pesach. Vayomer Hashem al Moshe v'Aaron be'eretz Mitzrayim leimer. Hashem says to Moshe and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, HaChodesh hazel lachem rosh chadashim, rishon hu lachem l'chadshei Hashanah. So as we mentioned a few times, Chazal teaches this pasuk a little differently than we would teach it, and Rashi brings it this way. Rashi teaches it l'fi pshat. How would you literally teach this pasuk? This month, for you, is the head of months. It's the first of the months of the year for you, which is redundant. You're saying basically the same thing twice. This month, Nisan, is the head of all the months. In other words, it's the first month. And then you say it's the first of the months of the year. Same thing like the head. So therefore Chazal say, no, the pasuk really has two different parts. The second half of the pasuk says that Nisan is the first month of the year. The first half of the pasuk is not talking about the month of Nisan. Chodesh comes from the word month, comes from the word moon. That's why it's called month. Month comes from the word moon. What makes a month? The new moon. Chodesh means new, the new moon. HaChodesh hazeh. Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu a new moon. He showed him the moon after the Moiled. And he looked at that sliver, at that little crescent. He said, HaChodesh hazeh. When you see this new moon, when you see this in the sky, Lachem, for you, Rosh Chodashim, this has to become Rosh Chodesh. When this is seen, this is when you make Rosh Chodesh. And from here we have the source that when the new moon is seen, the Eidos testify and Rosh Chodesh is established. To Moshe and Aaron. That's the key. Vayomer Hashem al Moshe v'Aaron. But there's a one word added here. HaChodesh hazel lachem. To you. Only for you it's Rosh Chodesh. For nobody else it's Rosh Chodesh. Well, Moshe and Aaron have a monopoly on the moon. It's HaChodesh hazel lachem. So you say lachem l'chodesh means for Klal Yisrael. He's talking to them as representative of the Jewish people. But this lachem is critical here. So Shimon says, Eidezu take sheda b'chem. Moshe and Aaron are brothers. This is a unique testimony. It will also be kosher with you guys. HaChodesh hazeh, when you see this new moon, lachem rosh chodashim. Even for you, in other words. Not just two strangers come and say they saw the new moon, it works. This is going to be kosher b'chem by you, even though you're brothers. This is the source for Rosh Shimon, that kroivim are kosher for Eidos HaChodesh. Rashi says, take sheda b'chem, afal pi shem achim. That's the chiddush here, even though they're brothers. V'Rabbanon, what about the Rabbanon who hold that they're apostle? Relatives are disqualified. They also know about this pasuk Chodesh hazel lachem. The Gemarah says the Rabbanon hold differently. Eidezu te'ei mesura lachem. This testimony of Kiddush HaChodesh, it's not just two witnesses could come and say, we saw the new moon, it's Rosh Chodesh. No. They have to bring it to you. This Eidus is submitted, it's Mesura, it's given over to you. You have the authority. It's not just people see, HaChodesh Hazeh, you see the new moon, Rosh Chodashim. Lachem Rosh Chodashim. They have to bring it to you. In other words, they have to bring it to the leaders of the generation. In every generation you have the Sanhedrin, which were basically the representatives, as the Rambam puts it, Matike Hashmua, those who were responsible to hold up the Messiah of Yiddishkeit, of course, Torah Shebeksav and Torah Shebal Peh, and they stand in the place of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu appointed 70 people, right? 70 judges in Parshas Baloischa, and he's number 71. So in every generation you had Smicha, Ish Mipiyish from Moshe Rabbeinu. Sanhedrin. Oh, that's an interesting question. So what does Rashi say? Tehei Mesura Lachem, an interesting lashon. Lachashuvei Hadoir. Lachashuvei Hadoir, he says. To the prominent ones of the generation, Ani Moiser, I am giving over the ability, the authority, Sheyikablu ha'edus. They have to be the ones who accept the testimony. V'yikachu ha'chodesh, v'loy lahach shekroivim ba. The Lachem is not coming to make relatives kosher for Kedesh HaChodesh. Das zoisloi, das nicht. Elamai, it's lachem, HaChodesh hazeh lachem. You need the chashuvi ador in each generation, members of the Sanhedrin, of the Bezdin, to be mekabel ve'edus. So you're asking from here, l'chayr, is a raya that the two brothers could be in the Sanhedrin together. Opposite raya. Before we had a raya that the Eidos could be two brothers. Now the raya is, yeah?
In general, Bestin has to be unrelated.
Yeah, the same reason that the Eidos have to be. Same reason that Eidos, Adam Karavetz Alatzme, when there's relatives, we are...
So Ben and Colton in general cannot be brothers.
People, not relatives, not so easy to find.
Why?
This is nepotism.
Ah.
What sort of Tanakama that Kroim should not be pushed with Kiddush Kodesh?
I can't read it.
And other things, it's understandable because they have the years.
You're saying mitzat svara, you understand Reb Shimon.
Yeah.
If they're testifying that Yankel owes money to his father, Yankel owes money to him, so you say the father and son are in
This also
cahoots.
could be-
But you're saying, what's the cahoots over here?
There's different things that could come out.
That they want Rish Chodesh.
Yeah, you still won't get what's done because everybody has a nigias and everything in life. That I understand, but there's a less likely to strengthen. That's what they waited down. But here there's one more knage. You go to Rabbi, there's a you know each one is fakir. If they're
So he says you're allowed.
if they're related,
For Kiddush HaChodesh.
each one is fakir.
Yeah. It's mashma that, yeah. That Moshe and Aaron together would work. So cooked
You see by the Shvatim, they're going to best in Hashem, they're going to best in the Paskin and Yosef. From Matan Torah, but still.
the brothers,
The
he
brothers.
said.
Yeah.
The brothers.
The old shtick over there was
Okay, so that's the source of Reb Shimon, Achodesh Azalachem, but the Rabbanan absolutely disagree. Zog the Mishnah Vayta Amar Rabbi Yosi Ma'aseh b'Tuvia Roife. It's a story with Tuvia the doctor that he and his son and his slave saw the moon. Amar Reb Chanan bar Rava. Reb Chanan, the son of Rava, said, Hilchas Reb Shimon. A big chiddush. The halacha is like Reb Shimon. In other words, you can have a father and a son. Amalei Reb Huna Reb Chanan bar Rava. Reb Huna says to this man, Reb Chanan, the son of Rava, I don't understand you. Reb Yosi u'maisa v'at amrit hilchas Reb Shimon. We see in the Mishnah two things. First of all, that Rabbi Yosi repeats the story with Tuvia, where they disqualified a father and a son. They accepted the father and the slave. Number one. Plus, the Mishnah quotes a story that actually happened. In other words, this is how they did it. Va'at amrit, and you come and say Hilchas Reb Shimon. In other words, he's questioning him for two reasons. Number one, we have a klal in Shas that when Rabbi Yosi and Reb Shimon have an argument, generally halachic Rabbi Yosi, the fact that Rabbi Yosi argues with Reb Shimon here, right? Because Rabbi Yosi brings the story of Tuvia Haroife, where they disqualified father and son. The Bezdin disqualified them. The Koyanim accepted it, but Bezdin disqualified them. So l'chayra, that's one raya that Allah is not like Reb Shimon. Second point, it doesn't only say Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yosi u'maisa. We have a klal in Baba Basra and Shabbos. There's an expression in Gemarah, Maisa Rav. A story is always the greatest. When you have somebody saying something, you have to know if it fits, if it's applicable. But when you have a Maisa, so Maisa Rav, a story that actually happened, that's the greatest testimony. Here the Mishnah doesn't only bring a view, the Mishnah also brings a story that they disqualified a father and a son. So how could Reb Chanan bar Rava come and say, despite what the Mishnah says, Hilchas Reb Shimon? Amalei Reb Chanan bar Rava tells Reb Huna, let me tell you what happened. V'hazimnin zgiyin amaris kamei derav. Zimnin zgiyin means many times. It wasn't one time. Many times I said over in front of Rav, Hilchas Reb Shimon, that the halacha is like Reb Shimon. V'loy amali v'loy midi, and he never said anything. If you were right that from the Mishnah it's obvious the halacha is like Tanakama, why didn't Rav ever protest and say that the halacha is not like Reb Shimon? Amalei. Reb Huna tells Reb Chanan, let me ask you a question. Hey Chitanis, how exactly did you say this Mishnah in front of Rav? You spoke in front of Rav, you quoted the Mishnah, and you said, Halacha Reb Shimon. I want to know how you said over this Mishnah. Amalei, so he tells him, Ipcha. Now, obviously he didn't say these words. He told him how he told the Mishnah, and it was obvious that it was Ipcha. Basically, he had the names reversed. According to him, it was Reb Shimon who said that a father, in other words, he changed Reb Yossi for Reb Shimon. Reb Yossi is the one who said, a father and a son are kosher leidus achaydish. And Reb Shimon came and said, let me tell you the story with Tuvia Harayfe. Let me tell you the story of Tuvia Harayfe. The story of Tuvia Harayfe is that you're not allowed to, that they disqualify the father and the son. Ipcha, it was the exact opposite nusach. Reb Yossi was the one who was matir, disagreeing with Tanakam, and Reb Shimon is the one who told those story. Amalei. So Reb Huna tells him, that's why he didn't tell you anything. When you said halacha Reb Shimon, your Reb Shimon believes that a father and a son are disqualified for Eidos HaChodesh. And of course Rav agrees that's the halacha. That's why he didn't say anything. That's why he was quiet. Rashi says, Hey Chitanis, Masnis and Kamei de Rav. What do we mean? Mi ha-machshe, mi ha-poisel. Who allows father and son? Who disqualifies? Ipcha. Ipcha Tanina. I learned the Mishnah opposite, meaning in his text he had Rabbi Yossi Omer Avu B'noi V'chol HaKroivim Ksherin. Rabbi Yossi allows father and son. Amar Reb Shimon Maisa B'Tuvia. Amaloi Reb Huna says to Reb Chanan, the son of Rava, Mishum Hachi. The Afchis the Reb Shimon le Reb Yossi. You switched. You topsy-turvy Reb Shimon and Reb Yossi. That's why Lo Yamal Chamida Ki Amrit Halacha Ki Reb. It has to be here. Yeah. Ki Amrit Halacha Ki Reb Shimon. When you said Halacha Ki Reb Shimon, he agreed. You know why? The Hainu the Reb Yossi. Because that's really like me saying Halacha Ki Reb Yossi. If I would say Halacha Ki Reb Yossi, it'd work. Why? Because the Mishnah brings a story that disqualifies it. That's not what happened. So Mela, there's really no problem.
Why didn't he fix it?
Why didn't he fix what?
When he sees the Mishnah the opposite, why didn't he fix it?
In other words, they weren't arguing. It was simply an issue of semantics.
But when someone comes to you and tells you it's
incorrect.
The next time he did it.
Yeah, maybe he didn't know, but he knew that halacha is that way.
he didn't know the
You know
Mishnah.
the Bandama.
He didn't know the Mishnah. He didn't know that he's saying.
Why he didn't correct him in the Gersi, you say? Why he?
When he told him the Mishnah in the opposite way, why didn't he tell him, by the way, you're making a mistake? Because he
You know what? It could have been a Gersa like that. He obviously thought it was like that. He was also not lightweight.
I know he didn't. How do you know he didn't? How do you know he didn't?
Because he said, whatever. He said that he agreed with him, right?
He agreed. So go back to now. Look, so I made a mistake. I reversed it next.
A few times.
Not 2 times, 1 time.
No, he said a few times.
Many people-
This point was I
Very
told it
Gersa.
to him a few times and he didn't fix me. He didn't disagree with me.
Right. Because I just reversed the Mandamra.
So if someone tells you
Why did
something
Rabbi
a
Yossi
few
didn't tell
times,
What?
Why did Rabbi Yossi didn't tell him? What?
Why did the Rav didn't tell him?
Because he
Should have done it.
reversed the Mandamra. The
Right,
halacha was
but Rav-
correct.
Okay, it doesn't matter. You should tell him
I know,
that
Rav knew.
he's also wrong.
Rav knew.
Correct.
How do you know
Yes.
Rav
Well,
knew?
this time,
Rav
in
knew
this
the halacha.
instance,
Rav didn't know.
Rav knew all the
The
Mishnah.
halacha is Reb Shimon, the halacha is like
Rav knew all the
I don't
Mishnah.
know, when someone will come and tell me that
Bal peh.
the Sat
Rav knew Shas,
was pro
You knew Shas Bal peh.
I would fix
It's
it.
not that way. It wasn't written down or nothing.
He was. They saved his life. Of course he was pro. You're right.
And the Klala was a bracha. He really
It wasn't written down in the Mishnah.
all the Klalas that he gave.
They bring the Pnei Yeshua brings some halach here. I'll just quote. They bring from the Pnei Yeshua that Reb Chanan said halacha Ki Reb Shimon. In other words, as we see that kroivim, as we see at the end, that kroivim apostle Eidos HaChodesh. You can't use them. As the girsa that he had taka, and he said in front of Rav, that was his girsa. Halacha Ki Reb Shimon, that what? That kroivim apostle Eidos HaChodesh. That's what happened. So Reb Huna didn't know about this girsa. Reb Huna didn't know about this other girsa in the Mishnah, right? That's why he asked him, and he said, "How could you say this?" He thought that he's paskening that kroivim are kosher Eidos HaChodesh because he didn't know the girsa. L'chayre Rabbi Yossi argues with Reb Shimon, and we have a klal that Gemarah and Eruvin, that when Rabbi Yossi and Reb Shimon have an argument, halachic Rabbi Yossi, because taimoi v'nimukai imoi, Rabbi Yossi's authority was considered superior. Everything was explained. Everything had a reason. Besides the fact we have a story to support that the halacha is not like Reb Shimon. Him thinking that Reb Huna said, that Reb Chanan said that what? That it's kosher leidus achaydish. So the Pnei Yeshua says Reb Chanan understood from the question that Reb Huna had an opposite girsa from his girsa, and Reb Yossi is the one who passes the kroivim leidus. So that's what he told him, that when he spoke in front of Rav, halacha Reb Shimon, he told Rav halacha Reb Shimon against Reb Yossi, and he didn't say anything. And the question of the Maisa of Bezdin, he didn't answer him. Why? Because according to his girsa, the Maisa actually supports him. The Maisa actually supports him to pasal kroivim leidus. So he held that Rav didn't say anything because the Maisa supports Reb Shimon against Reb Yossi, and therefore you could paskin like Reb Shimon. You asked me two questions. First of all, how could you paskin Reb Shimon against Reb Yossi? Second of all, you have a Maisa against you. From that, the Maisa didn't have a problem because actually he agrees with the Maisa. He just changed the names. How could you paskin Reb Shimon against Reb Yossi? The answer is because I told this to Rav, and Rav also paskins this way. So in this case, you paskin Reb Shimon against Reb Yossi. So Reb Huna asks him, how did you tell the story in front of Rav that he didn't answer you? So he tells him that he told him that Reb Yossi is machshek kroivim leidus achaydish and Reb Shimon pasels. And Reb Shimon is the one who told over the story of Tuvia Raifi. In other words, Reb Shimon pasels. That's what he told him. So Reb Shimon is the one who pasels. So Reb Huna says, now I understand. Now that the gears is changed over by you, and Reb Shimon pasels the kroivim, and that's the story, so then it's not a problem. Because when you said halacha Reb Shimon, you're basically paskening like Reb Yossi, because my girsa is the more correct girsa, and it's the one who Reb Yossi is the one who passes the edus. So therefore, according to this girsa, Rav knew about the real girsa of the Mishnah, as if we didn't have to mix in. But if the girsa would have been like you, then Rav would have not been quiet when you said kroivim apostle edus like Reb Shimon. Why? Because the halacha is always like Rabbi Yossi in contrast to Reb Shimon. So therefore Rav would have to tell you that you made a mistake. But since Rav accepts my girsa, so therefore he didn't have a problem, because halacha l'maisa, it wouldn't have been an issue, even though the name is changing here. That's what he says. That's the kavanah in Rashi. Rashi says Rav didn't say anything to Reb Chanan because he changed the girsa in the views of Reb Shimon and Reb Yossi, and he paskin halacha Reb Yossi, which is Reb Shimon, according to his version. Rav didn't say anything because hafach hagirsa pasa kamay hamaisa, that because he changed the girsa and he paskin like the story. Because mitzad the story itself, he shouldn't have paskin like Reb Yossi, because like Reb Shimon. But because our girsa is that Reb Yossi is paisel and Reb Chanan paskins that way, so therefore Rav didn't say anything. He says that's why Rashi puts it that way, that was the reason he didn't say anything. Like Amar lachmida ki amrit, ki amrit halacha kireb Yossi dahainu de Reb Shimon. You understand? He maintains the girsa. When you said halacha kireb Yossi dahainu de Reb Shimon, so we changed it a little bit. But the way the Pnei Yeshua says, he didn't mind. Why? Because you when you said halacha kireb Shimon, it's really halacha kireb Yossi.
Can I just bring out a mixture for later, for another time, when you can think about how you can pass Reb Shimon against Reb Yossi?
Even if it's only going to be in this case, not going to be a klal. So zayin in this case, a mixture won't come out. You're not going to make from this a klal by everything.
So he thought that there's a test in this case.
Yeah, right. Sagt die Gemarah weiter. Amar Tavi barei de Mari Tavi, Amar Marukva, Amar Shmuel, Hilchas Reb Shimon. It's a pella. Tavi, the son of Mari Tavi, says in the name of Ukva, in the name of Shmuel, the halacha is like Reb Shimon. What's pshat? You just explained that halacha can't be like Reb Shimon. The halacha is like Reb Yossi, and there's a story that rejects it. So it's interesting that the Rambam paskins that kroivim apostle edus achaydish, not like Reb Shimon. So some want to say that the Rambam had a girsa, ein halacha Reb Shimon. But l'cha'oida you could say that he had the same girsa like Reb Chanan. You could say he Pashat had the same gears like Reb Chanan. So when he says Hilchas Reb Shimon, it means Hilchas Reb Yosef.
The Tanakh is clear. I mean, according to that gears.
No, Reb Yosef supports it, but it's.
He supports. But who is the Tanakh? The Rambam passes on the Tanakh.
The Rambam passes on the Tanakh clearly. So how do you? But I the Gemarah. How could you argue with the Shas? You say Allah Reb Shimon. So it could be that I'm saying that Tavi had the same gears like Reb Chanan. That Reb Shimon is the one who passes. That's why he says Hilchas Reb Shimon. Zak the Mishnah. Who's pasal Eidus HaChaydash? Eilu ein apsulin, le'edus eilu ein apsul. Lifte kol eilam kulim min adin. Chayed himself. Eilu ein apsulin. These are the people who are disqualified for Eidus HaChaydash. Some Eidus are disqualified. We spoke about relatives and the Machlokes, but now there are those who are disqualified. Number one, HaMesachek B'Tuvia. Mesachek B'Tuvia, Rashi says, let's see, Chtichos Shel Etzem. They take dice. Chtichos Shel Etzem literally means they take pieces of bone. In other words, they carve them into dice. And basically they're gambling with them. They're playing. If it falls this way, you pay money, you put in money, or the other way around. What's the problem? With the responsibility, yeah.
You come in saying,
I'll be the guarantor. Arav means a guarantor. Unless you guarantee, and you basically say, if this and this happens, this number or this digit, whatever it is, I'm going to pay money. What's the problem? Why are you pasal Eidus? What's the issue? So Rashi says a very interesting thing. Amar Rabbanan, the Rabbanan said, Asmachta loikanya. This type of asmachta, we'll explain in a moment, is not koine. Varein gazlonin mit Rabbanan. They're rabbinic thieves. They're called gazlonim mit Rabbanan. Why? Midiraisa eine kari gazlin ala choytef miadish. Minatayri, you're not called a thief, a gazlin, unless you push and grab it away from somebody. The ksiv we have in Shmuel Beis, vayigzel is a chanis miyad hamitzri. The definition of vayigzel is he took away the chanis, the spear from the Egyptian. This, I'm not taking away money from anybody. You put in the money, and I get it. But the pshat is, this is called asmachta. What says an asmachta? When a person puts money this way, it's not money that he really wants to give, of course. Huh? He hopes that he's going to get the money. So in other words, he hopes he gets the money. So he gave the money because, he wants to be able to come back to gamble again. He wants to have a good reputation. But when I'm taking this money, there was no what's called real smichas das. There was no real submission of the owner to give the money. Yes. So Mitzadei Rabbanon, it's called gzela. For me taking the money, if I'm part of such a system, I am a gazla, not minatayr, I'm a gazla mit Rabbanon. If I'm a gazla mit Rabbanon, I'm pasal Eidus mit Rabbanon, because a gazla is pasal Eidus. You can't trust it.
That's only if you win.
Well, you're there hoping you're going to win, right? You're there hoping you're going to win. The pasuk says in Mishpatim, Al Tashas Yadchim Rosh Aliyas Eid Chamas. Don't put your hands together with a Rasha to be a false witness. We see from here, on Eid Chamas, a Rasha is called an Eid Chamas. So Rashi is telling us, if he's a Gazlan Minatayra, Chamas Minatayra, Chamsin is a robber, then he's Pasal Minatayra. Here he's not a Gazlan Minatayra, he's a Gazlan Midrabanan. So Mesachek B'Kuvya, somebody who plays dice, is Pasal Midrabanan, a Gazlan Midrabanan, and therefore they don't want him to testify. Next, Malve Beribis. Yeah.
The concept of a smart that goes on this thing of that he's not doing anything real. Doesn't that concept also go on? If I make a promise to someone that's not really a promise, I'm just trying to fool them with my promise, or it's an exaggerated promise. It's not, and a smarta goes on something that isn't real. It's something that is, I'm trying to gain an advantage or fool someone. Isn't that how we define a smarta?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, yeah. Malva beribis. Next. Malva beribis means people who lend money for usury, for ribis, for interest. So what happens here? I lend you money. We make up that you have to not only pay me the money, but pay me interest. So krashi lav gazlan deraisul mifsalei mishum al toshes yadchim rashli yisek chamos. Dominafshe yoivle. You can't say that he's called a gazlan in a Torah, that this man is an 8 chamas, he's a robber. He's not a robber. When I'm lending with interest, you're giving me the money with your consent. Yoiv menafshe yoiv. You're giving it with your ratzon. But nonetheless, here again, midrabbanan, it's called a gazlan because it's usher to be involved in this. So it's not the mamish definition of a thief, but rabbinically it's a gedder of gazlanas. Next. It's an isim in a Torah. Yeah, but like Rashi, the isim in a Torah is not the problem here. Other Rishonim argue. Like Rashi, the problem is the gzela. The question is, what makes the psula edus? Is it the isim in a Torah, or is it gzela? L'payl and halacha, we say that somebody who's over on an isim in a Torah, right, or is surim d'rabbanan, as long as he doesn't do tshuva, he's pasul la'edus. Once he does tshuva, he's fine. Right? That's why by some chuppahs they tell the edus to be maharir b'tshuva. But like Rashi's shitta, the problem is not an isim and a Torah, because then that's the issue with ribis. The problem is gzela. You can't say ribis is gzela. Ribis is a conventional business method, right? In fact, between Jews and non-Jews, it's completely fine. Why? Because it's a regular business method. If I give you $1 million for 5 years, that's a loss of money. With $1 million in 5 years, I could make a lot of money. So I'm asking you to give me $1 million, yeah, plus let's say 5%, 10%. That's the money I may have made. It's a conventional business method. In fact, it's interesting. The issur of ribis you would expect to be in Choshen Mishpat in Shulchan Aruch, in the civil section of Shulchan Aruch. It's not there. It's in Yoreh Deah, same section like kashrus. What does ribis have to do? Ribis is ben adam l'chavera, shchita, kashrus, talmud, all Yoreh Deah, because mitzad dinei Choshen Mishpat, ribis is mutter. Ribis as a business transaction makes sense. It's a din in Yoreh Deah. It's almost a din between man and God. There's a special din that between Jews, you have to be like brothers, family. You don't do ribis. With a guy, you're allowed to lend ribis. So it's very interesting. Machlokes mitzvah or mutter. Machlokes hershayim. So I'll call upon him. Rashi tainas here. Like Rashi, the vort is gzela. The vort is not the isser. The vort is gzela. So it's not mamish gzela, right? It's a normal method. You agree to give me ribis, but with the rabbanon, it's called gzela. Taking your ribis, lending you on ribis is an inyan of gzela. Right. 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 Yeah. This is a machlokes between Abaye and Rava, basically. Abaye kind is that anybody who's over on a lav min haTorah, not by mistake. Mistake is a mistake. If he does it intentionally, lahachis, he's called a Rosh and he's pasul edus. If he's eichel nevelis lahachis, yeah. Any isim in haTorah, he's pasul edus. Rava tainas, it has to be 8 chamas. Chamas is a particular type of avera. Chamas. It's robbery, like it says by the Mabul. Mola ha'aretz chamas, or as we would say today, Mola ha'aretz chamas. But that's the concept that you need an inyan of chamas. In other words, an inyan of revach mom. It has to do with money. It has to do with money.
It has to do with inamunas, no?
Yeah, that's what Pashta's the reason. The moment there's an inyan of gzela, you can't. This man is not neman when it comes to money. He's not believing. Zog the Mishnah weiter. Next is mafriche yoinim. What's mafriche yoinim? Rashi says nami ke'en kubia. This is also a form of gambling. Itak de me yoinach li yoini. Friche yoinim means those who make yoinim, doves. Doves, they do races. Like you have races between doves, and they basically bet based on the races. If my dove wins your dove, then I give you $100,000. Here again, when you take that $100,000, it's not a gzelim in haTorah, but it's gzelim in the rabbanon, because I really do not want you to have that $100,000.
All this is one-on-one. If you have somebody, even whatever, organized a free yonim, with the
You're saying a lottery, if somebody buys a lottery, they're not called a
Somebody
gazlan.
goes to Atlantic City, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Somebody goes to the racetrack, and they bet, it doesn't make them, because it's not to one-on-one, seems to me, everything's one-on-one.
You said one on
No,
one.
the asmachta,
They're in a business, they know they're gonna win.
what do you mean, what? I'm asking, I'm not gonna be asking to lose, but they're gonna take my money, are they slaves there? They're corporation. Doesn't ask somebody who's possible to be able, if he goes to the racetrack, if he goes to a casino, then, you know, take a,
Yes.
rip up.
What do I learn from that?
There's no problem, gambling with a guy, the same thing like that.
Oh. I guess because it's maybe less conspicuous.
But they're both games of chance, right?
That's what Rashi says. It's similar to the gamble, yeah. Next is Soichrei Shviyas. Soichrei Shviyas are those who do business with produce, with fruits that grow on Shemitah year. Rashi, Oisen Schoire Bepeda Shviyas. The Rechman number, the Torah says, we just learned in Parshas Bahar. La'achla, v'hoisa Shabbos ha'aretz l'cham. La'achla, and Chazal say, v'loy l'schoire. You can eat the fruits of Shviyas. You have your apples, you can eat them. But you can't do business with them. Well, Fisha nechshedu kol elu laver al das machmas mammon chashdun lias beidim sheker ade mammon v'sheich. The common denominator, all these people were suspected that they will transgress the Torah because of money. So therefore, they consistently suspected them to become witnesses who are lying through money and sheichet. If anybody bribed them, in other words, they are up for sale. And therefore, just look what they did. Whether it's ribis, whether it's mafrichiyonim, all these things. So therefore, we do not accept them as kosher edus midirabbanan. The next, those who are apostle, is already a different type of category. Avodim. Aganav is for sure also min ha-Torah. That's not that the Mishnah. That's a post of Bruzach. Even a malva beribis, he's doing it with rishus. He's still apostle.
Why Kiddush HaChodesh is money?
No, in other words, the apostle edus.
The apostle is in general.
Apostle
not
edus.
only
Yeah.
for Kiddush HaChodesh.
Yeah.
Dech Hagav also Kiddush HaChodesh.
Yeah. Avodim are non-Jewish slaves. Avodim Knanim, they're also apostle midin Torah for edus. Even though they live in a Jewish home and they went through a bris and they went to the mikveh, but nonetheless, they still have a semi-status of Jews and therefore they're apostle edus. Next, Zeh HaKlal. This is the klal. Kol edus she'ein ishik sheirela. Any edus that a woman is not kosher for this edus, whether it's edus for monetary issues or edus for capital punishment or edus hachodesh. The pasuk says in Dvarim, Perik Yites, va'amdu shnei ha'anoshim. The two men shall stand and testify. Chazal learn here in Gemarah and Shuas, anoshim v'loy noshim, that edus is for men, not for women. So therefore, any edus that an isha is not kosher. So therefore, afhein, all this Tuvia, are also not kosher for.
Why did not list the Isha?
Why didn't list an Isha?
Yeah.
That you don't need the Mishnah for. That's a din Torah. That's a din min ha-Torah. By an Isha, it's not mitzad ne'emonos. By an Isha, it's not mitzad monos. Torah was very protective of the dignity of women. When you come to Edis of Bezdin, they could mach you meshuga, right? They could drive you crazy. Torah is extremely protective of the dignity of women, not to get them into these types of pressures and messes and so forth. It's more of a male job.
But if they just see things from an emotional state.
That could be also, yeah. You mean daitan?
Colors, that they see a higher level, a deeper thing. They don't see the surface.
They use intuition a lot.
Yeah.
Intuition.
It's not like that.
Their feelings, their emotions are very powerful. Okay.
But they're post-right, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't accept them as edus. Besides, there are certain situations, that's why he says, Kol edus she'ein ishik sheirela. You have in Yonim where, Aguna, Isha, Saita, there you have it. And of course, kashrus in the home. Nida, v'chuli. Zog the Gemarah. Ha, Ishik sheirela. We're saying the klal is any edus that a Isha is not kosher, so all these people in the Mishnah are also not kosher. What about Ishik sheirela? What about an edus where women are kosher? Like we just said, an Isha could testify to a woman that her husband died. It's not a problem. You could remarry because your husband died. An Isha could testify about a saita. Saita was concealed. She could say she became Tameh. Yeah, she became Tameh. Afhein Ksherin La. What do we see from here? All these people would also be kosher. Amar Rabashi, Zoisemeres, this teaches us, Gazlan de Devreim, Ksherin La Eidus Isha. A Gazlan de Rabbanan is kosher for Eidus Isha. Those things that a woman would be kosher La Eidus, you clearly see from the end of the Mishnah, you would accept even these people. Why? Because we're dealing with Gazlan and Midirabbanan, that only Midirabbanan they're possible Eidus, so they're only possible for those Eidus that an Isha is possible for. But Eidus that an Isha is kosher for, they would be kosher. What about a Gazlan and a Torah, somebody who actually takes money away from the person? It seems the Chachamim would not allow him to say Eidus even on those things that an Isha is kosher. Zok Rashi, Avodim psule doiraisa hakal v'chayme meisha kedamaram b'bakama. It's a kal v'chayme from the Isha. What's the kal v'chayme from the Isha? Madach, an Isha is a regular full Jew. Nonetheless, she's pasal le'edus. An Eved who's pasal lavei b'kal. But an Eved Knaini can't just marry anybody. For sure, he would be pasal le'edus. That's the kal v'chayme of the Gemarah. Ha'isha ksheira lo zok Rashi going l'hoyed al misas adam l'hasiyas ishtay al soita shenitmas b'stira shalai tishta. Leidus Isha Latira Lenosig. Dafke Gazen the Devreim. Have a Gazen der Reise, the Chotzef Lava Befahesia. It's already a different chutzpah. Lo Yechshiru Chachamam Leidus Isha. Afal Pisha Yechshiru Es HaEvet. Ves HaIsha. Pesula der Reise, but that over there there's no chutzpah. But it's a unique thing. Last Mishnah, and on this there's no Gemarah, interestingly. Mishra Sachoidish Veina Yachal Lahalach. Somebody sees the new moon and he can't travel. He's sick. Melichem Moisel Achamor. Even on Shabbos, you could take him on a donkey. Somebody asked a few days ago, right? You can even carry him in a bed. 2 people could carry him in a bed on Shabbos. And if there's people who may be ambushing them, you have in the second Beis HaMikdash, you had groups of Jews who wanted to fight the Bezdin. So they would perhaps ambush the Eidos for a few hours, kidnap them, and let them only go Mitzvah Shabbos. So he says, if you know that there's people like that, like can be other maklos, you could take sticks on Shabbos in order to fight them off. And if it's a far road, a far path, like can be other mezainis, you could carry food on Shabbos. You may be carrying 4 amas in Rosh Hashanah, Mr. Chmamash, a real isur, serious isurim. Nonetheless, you're allowed to do it on Shabbos. Why? Shal mahalach laila v'yoyim. Because if the distance to get from your place to Bezdin is only a night and a day, not more, Mechalal in a Shabbos, you could desecrate the Shabbos, and go out to testify for Chodesh. Why does he say Mahalach Laila V'Yoyim? If I see the moon 7 o'clock at night Friday, and I know it's going to take me a night and a day, right? And another night, then I'm not allowed to be Mechalal Shabbos, because I'm anyway not going to arrive before Mitzvah Shabbos, so it's not going to help. But if I know that if I travel tonight, I travel tomorrow, I'm going to arrive before nightfall, then you're allowed to be Mechalal Shabbos. Shenemar, the pasuk says in Emer, Eile Moyadei Hashem Mikroi Kodesh. These are the holidays of Hashem, declarations of holiness. Asher Tikru Oisam B'Moyadam, that you should declare in their right time, in their designated time. From the word B'Moyadam, it has to be in the designated time. We learn that it's Doicher override Shabbos in order to make Rosh Chodesh on time. Override Shabbos. If it overrides Shabbos, whatever it takes to make Rosh Chodesh on time, you could do on Shabbos. So, for example, you need the Eidos. That's an integral component of making Rosh Chodesh on time. It's Doicha Shabbos. Hadron Allah Chabar Rosh Hashanah. We shall return to you. Hadron Allah Chabar Rosh Hashanah. Hadron Allah Chabar Rosh Hashanah. Hopefully sooner than later. Saying we shall return to you, Abar Rosh Hashanah, to the Peirik Abar Rosh Hashanah. The next year is going to be on Thursday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Rashi, Misharos HaChodesh Markivin Oisei Af B'Shabbos. B'Mtzoidelem Yesh Oirvim B'derech, if there are ambushes in the way, K'moi Ba'atat Tzoides Nafshi, Shmuel Aleph, HaBaitusim V'Hakusim Hemayu Oirvim Lehem. You had the Baitusim who were actually Jews, the Sadducees, who didn't believe in Teresh B'Al Peh, and the Kusim, who were a whole other controversial group, the Samaritans. They wanted to confuse and make the Chachamim have an error.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.